Hello, everybody. Welcome to Footy Abroad, episode 15. It is Tuesday, the 23rd of July, 2024. We are back, the three amigos, Jake from Saints TV and Swoop Luke. Hello, lads.
Hello, mate.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Jake, how are you, mate? What's you back? You better? Got
Yeah,
your voice
I'm back.
Up and about.
Yeah. No, the energy's good. Sorry I didn't get to make it last week. I'm sure it was a great show anyway. I don't know how my audio. Oh, I watched the part where you played the audio. I didn't watch the full show because I was in bed pretty early. I do like that you all ripped into me and said that, don't worry about the sympathy. He's only got the flu. Don't worry about it. It's not like he's on his deathbed or anything. Mate, anything that makes me miss Footy Abroad, Saints TV Weekly, don't go to the game even on the weekend, on the Saturday, miss the game. That's the level that I was at. I was pretty crook, and I hate missing the footy. So, and I knew missing it would mean we'd win by our greatest margin in 7 years. So that was disappointing. It's hard to believe that was our biggest win since round 6, 2017. Fun fact.
Do you know what? Let's just get straight into it. Why don't you break that down? I forgot about that fact. The Saints found their killer instinct.
Yeah. It was nice to put a team to the sword. We're not used to that. And everyone says, well, you just play West Coast and they've got players missing, and even with those players in, they would have struggled. But we've played them many times in the last couple of years, and it's been dour games. We haven't put scoreboard pressure on them. We've played North. We've played Richmond and Hawthorn. We haven't been able to do that to these teams that have been down there. So it was nice to put 113 on them and keep them to 6 goals for the game. It was nice. Good percentage booster. Our percentage is catching up to Collingwood, so watch out, mate. We're only about 1.5% off now, so let's see how we go.
And 2 games, right?
And only 2 games. So it's it can be caught, I reckon. That's a fun.
Do you want to do a wager for the end of the year?
Yeah, well we'll do that near the end of the show. We'll put on a wager. I reckon we're a chance. That's all I'm saying.
Interesting.
Yeah.
This is peak Ross Ryan when he gets to be the Grinch. Finals is not. Is finals mathematically out of the picture
for us?
Yeah.
Probably. Well, I'd say what are we on? I don't even know how many wins we're on, to be honest. But
I'll tell you, mate. Don't worry, I got you.
What are we on? 6?
7 games.
7? Are we on 7 wins? That's awesome.
7 wins, 11 losses.
We'd have to win every game from here on in and boost that percentage well above 100. And considering our draw with Brisbane, Carlton, and who else is in that mix? Essendon, Geelong. I don't know if we can win all of them, but I think we can upset a couple there. So pretty excited to have such a tough draw to finish the year. I think that's the best way to end the year. Test ourselves against some of the top teams.
Yeah. Luke, the Pies, they let me down, mate. Lock of the week.
Yeah. I think you can't lock us in anymore, mate. I think that's what has to happen. We got the Terry lock of death the last 2 weeks. But
it'll work for St Kilda.
Yeah, we lifted.
Eventually,
it
works for St Kilda. It was just we just looked out hungered, and now we're probably still drinking the champagne bathwater from the Premiership. To be honest, it just seems like we're just flat. Which is disappointing in a flag defence. But 5 weeks, if Jake's optimistic that he can catch up to us, I'm optimistic that we can still make finals. So all we need is 1 win, and then a win after that, and then that for another 3 weeks, and we'll scrape in. But just enjoying it at the moment and trying to find a positive in a very, very dour negative.
I'm sure the Collingwood community have got theories, and no one truly knows because you don't know what's going on the inside. But if you had to take the best guess, like, what is it? What's the issue? I saw the president, or Jeff Brown,
say
Brown,
the president, yeah,
the luck sort of going the other way of what it was last year. What is it?
Look, if I if I had to take a stab at it myself, I've been saying that I think Graham Wright not being there really messed us up a little bit. Like, we don't really know what he would do day to day, but he would be on the bench most of the time. Him leaving meant that Bolts, Leper, Jared Wade had to expand their roles a lot more. If you listen to any of the sort of rumors from the media, people were sort of not infighting, but there was a bit of struggle for power. Claire Pettifor left, who was second in charge of Graham Wright. So she left to go back to Melbourne after only being with us for like a year or two. So there was a bit of a power struggle, I think, maybe. And Graham Wright was sort of like reining them all in, and then him not being there. When you try and when someone says I want to quit, and then you're like, no, we'll do anything, just stay with us. And he's like, yeah, let me take a 12-month holiday. You're like, yeah, cool, we'll welcome you back. That's a toxic relationship in my view. And that sort of never works out. So I think it started there.
Glad to have Jack Ginnivan with us.
That's brilliant.
Hey, I've got to ask the question, because 12 months ago it was don't boo Jack, mental health, young boy. Don't boo him. Leave our boy Jack alone. He's only a young boy. Is he now no longer a young boy?
No, I think it's if I had to play devil's advocate, and of course it's coming from a Pie supporter, so it doesn't really mean fuck all. But I think it was the way he shit canned the club after he had left, that got the booing. You're always going to boo an ex-player. I think Carlton were booing Zach Fisher the other day as well.
This is my topic. This is my topic, by the way.
Oh well, we'll just leave it for that then. But yeah, we'll talk about it a bit there. But yeah, it is like I don't like booing anyway. Just in general, unless they're lining up for goal. But yeah, it was about mental health, and now it's about Jack wishing us a good night. But he loves to stir the pot, and football needs more players like him.
I agree. It's so funny what a player can do for his reputation in 10 seconds.
Yeah, I think the funniest thing about that is,
but yeah, no one booed Zach Fisher, by the way, on Sunday. He got subbed out as well, the poor lad.
Oh, really? I could have sworn, because I only watched a little bit of it, so maybe I was just hearing something else. But the funny thing about Jack Ginnivan was now everyone's on Ginnivan's side. So I feel like last year, and when he was playing, it was never about Jack. It was just about people hating Collingwood, and he was just at the forefront of it. So now everyone's on Guinea's side and against Collingwood. So it was always a Collingwood thing instead of a Ginnivan thing.
I thought the booing was because he kept doing this, kept trying to do this and slide the tackle.
Bit of simulation.
Yeah, but he was doing that. He's been doing that all year, and he wasn't getting booed by any opposition fan. It was just when he was wearing the black and white and doing it for us.
To be fair, everyone's frothing Hawthorn right now, and he's a Hawthorn player. That's true. And they're exciting, and everyone wants him to make finals from out of the gate. So he's in that little bubble where, like you said, if it was any other situation, everyone would hate him and be booing him, but it's because everyone loves Hawthorn and what they're up to, and he's part of that, then he goes with it. So I think it's just he's in that zone with Hawthorn.
Yeah. I would have done the same thing because didn't Craig McRae didn't Collingwood kind of hang him out to dry a little bit? Like, they obviously weren't happy with some of his behaviours and things like that. But I mean, I thought from the exit meeting and what we've now learned about what happened in the way he exited and how he was spoken to and treated, like there was a bit of a sour taste left in his mouth too.
Yeah. It's there's just so many conflicting stories. Like, apparently, we offered him a couple of years, and he wanted 4 years at, like, how can you turn down 4 years at another club, that you grew up supporting? And then, like, I don't know. Do you think, if, not that it would ever happen, but if Sam Walsh went to a fucking club the night before a grand final, Voss would be pretty pissed off as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think both parties were kind of right. I mean, I think the Pies would have felt a little some type of way if, I mean, he was at the races, I think, the day before the granny. Yeah. Is that what happened? Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely wouldn't want to, I wouldn't have thought that's the best way to do it. But at the same time, these new players these new generation, they're just, crazy. They do it different way, you know.
Yeah.
So,
But look, I hope that he's thriving because of that. Or not hope that he is thriving, and hopefully it's because of, getting however you want to say it, and going into the Hawks. Jesus, came up Jack Higgins. Not even
Are
a
you
came up Jack
joking?
Ginnivan.
I think Collingwood would take Jack Higgins right now, to be honest. It's in good form.
We love Schultz. We love Schultz.
Guinea goes bang.
you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if it was Jack Ginnivan.
100%, 1,000%.
He keeps popping up on TikTok now, eating steak sandwiches and stuff.
Oh,
have you seen his steak
Did you see him
sandwich
clap
reviews?
back on Twitter as well?
Oh, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah,
that was
quality.
really good.
I rate that.
Oh man. Anyway, just thought I'd ask the question. I'm being a little bit of a smart ass too. Just
no, that's okay. It's a very good topic. So what about your guys getting out of jail?
Getting out of jail, all of a sudden the outside Carlton football world cares about Harry Mackay's welfare, and I was watching that with a bit of interest. No, look, we were sluggish defensively in that second quarter, and it's the third week in a row where our second quarters have really let us down. Got the job done in the end. It wasn't a cruisy win. North challenged us. Thought they were pretty good. I mean, we've played them twice now, so we beat them by nearly 10 goals last time out. Good on them. I thought they were really competitive, and they took it to us. They hunted us. I'm kind of grateful that we've got a 5-day break now, just because it's one of those games that, I mean, it's weird, right? If we win by more than 10 goals, it's only North. If we win by less than 10 goals, you didn't win by enough. If you lose, it's flames and volcano. So we got the job done, and we'll move on. And a few sore boys, a few interesting tactics. Clarko, it's a Clarko type team. He's got him playing rough and tough. He's got Sherry banging into DeConing, breaking, cracking ribs and puncturing lungs and fracturing feet. So we're a bit battered and bruised, but I think we just needed to see a win after 2 losses in a row. And I think we're going to be okay. I hope we're going to be okay. Yeah.
Nice. But how is Mackay feeling? He did look. I watched the game, and he did look fucking dazed and confused when he got hit.
Have you guys have played footy, both of you, or sport? Have you ever copped first, whether it's like an elbow or the back of a head to your nose? Have you ever copped that before?
Yeah, it doesn't.
That's how I saw it initially. That's exactly how I saw it. I'm like,
right.
It's not like a head knock where it's gone temple on temple. He's concussed. It was like you get a little bit dazed because you've just copped it smack bang in the nose, and it kind of throws you. Kicks a goal. Moments later, I think the issue was we didn't get a doctor out quick enough to at least check on him, and just by the rules of the AFL, you've got to have a doctor that goes out within 8 minutes. So that was the issue. Kicks a goal moments later. I mean, he's fine. He copped a knock to the nose, to the head, to the face. Played out the game, did the test, scat test, came back all clear, and he was never concussed. But I watched the commentary, and all of a sudden, these opposition supporters are caring so much about Mackay's safety and well-being.
Yeah,
and
we care about his welfare, man.
And he should be out for 12 days because they care about his welfare. I see right through it.
Do you think, because there was an incident with Jordan Dawson as well, wasn't there, on the weekend, where he didn't come off because Adelaide got to please explain as well from the AFL.
Okay.
Do you think umpires should? I know we've got to get into the topics in a second, but do you think the umpires should have the authority to, if they see a head knock like they do in the EPL, stop the game and take them off?
Of course they should. They do it for the blood rule, man. They do it for the blood rule.
That's
What's
true.
the difference?
That's very true.
If you're doing it for the blood rule, then anything else that's remotely health related is in that same category. So blow the whistle and say, get off the ground now.
That's a good call, because we were talking about the independent doctor. Why not just? I mean, look, the umpires have a lot of responsibility, and it's hard as it is. But
if it's clear, if it's clear and he's on the ground, which he was for a bit.
He was.
And the Carlton players stopped the game as well. The umpire was going to ball it up. And I think it was Curnow and Cripps that was like, no, just wait a second, bro. He's on the ground.
And remember, there's 4 umpires, so this is one benefit of having more than. We talk about having more umpiring. This is the part where if there's one that's facilitating a ball up, have the other one quickly blow the whistle and say, "No, look, Harry's down. Let's just check on him for a sec."
Yeah, exactly.
It's not hard.
It doesn't help when the commentary clearly barrack and clearly because. I've got this theory. If you're a former player, you are always going to criticize umpiring because you're a player. It's innately in you. If you're not a former player and you're a commentator that didn't play at the highest level, you just call the game as it is. But you've got Jack Revolt and you've got Jordan, what's his name, Jordan Lewis.
Yeah.
Barracking against Carlton, barracking and just complaining and trying to insert themselves into the conversation. And I really think it sways the perception of what's actually happening out there.
Of course it does. Alistair Lynch and Jonathan Brown were a part of the special comments for the Brisbane game. 2 X lines.
Wow.
Like, really? They're really amping it up here. That seems overkill. Is there no one else they can schedule on these games?
Yeah. So, that was the Blues. Wait, I'm a Carlton supporter. I've got faith. You guys are not Carlton supporters. Are we still legit?
You guys are a lock for a premiership this year.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I don't. If you had to drop the game, I would have thought 3 in a row, but you'd rather lose that now than later. So I think having this period now and maybe not playing your best is fine, and then you pick it up in the next couple of weeks. Especially you got Port. Yeah, that'll be an interesting one. This one will say a lot more, I think, about both sides. This is going to be a proper test to see where they're both at, really.
It's at Marvel. I didn't realise
It's at
that.
Marvel.
Jesus Christ.
No good. Okay, let's move on.
Cool.
I know everyone's hating it. I know it. I know you all hate watching us at the top of the ladder.
I love it.
And I love it. You all hate it.
Anything less than a premiership
No
this year
answer. No answer would. Yes, Carlton are flying is not good enough. No, their shit is not good enough. Terry he just wants us to do something. I don't know what you want us to say.
Matt,
you think I'll tell you what, I'm proud of myself. I couldn't give a stuff what Carlton are doing this year, to be honest. I'm happy that they're doing well, but it doesn't bother me if you're up there, honestly. I couldn't care less.
Look, I've never been able to experience this in my life, ever.
It's a good feeling.
Ever. I'm 33 years old, and for the first time ever, my team is sitting second after 19 rounds of football. I don't have a memory of this happening. So, yeah.
It's only nice when they make it happen at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, job's not done, but it's been a good and enjoyable year so far.
Yeah,
Definitely.
So I'll enjoy it while it's here, because before we know it, we're rebuilding again.
Yeah, before you know it, you're Collingwood.
Tell me about it with a premiership. I'm just trying to find the last time Carlton finished second on the ladder. Do you know, Terry, off the top of your head?
I think it might finished second on the ladder.
Oh yeah, just like it would have been 95. Oh, 95 was. Oh, yeah, I found it. So 95 was first. 94 was second to West Coast.
Wow.
So it was 30 years.
Yeah, man.
So 30 years on the dot since you finished.
30 years on the dot.
There you go.
Yeah. 99 we made the prelim, but I don't know where we finished.
99. No, 99 you guys finished third. 6th. 99.
6th. Wow.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, 2000 second.
2000 we finished second. There you go.
It's been turn of the millennium.
It's been 24 years. So anyway, we're going to get cracking into this show. We've got 3 topics to talk about. We then, depending on time, we might get some fan cams and hear from some of those of you at home watching. You know what? I'm going to go first.
Do it.
All right.
I'm going to go first.
See yourself.
I'm going to ask the 2 of you a question. We're going to go around. We'll start with Jake, then we'll go to Luke, and those of you at home as well. My question comes from just, again, I guess I have an issue with how we always look for what's wrong. There's always something wrong. The game's fucked. Tackling, holding the ball, umpiring, media coverage. Like, we're always complaining. A really interesting exercise about our society comes from when you talk about this game to someone who doesn't know the game itself. And that's when I found, I know I love the game, but you're really reminded how much you love the game when you talk about it with pride to someone who doesn't know the game at all. So I wanted to go around and ask everyone, those of you watching, and then the two of you, what's working in the AFL? Because from what I'm seeing, North are taking it to Carlton in round 19, 17th versus 2nd. Essendon and Adelaide, an absolute cracker of a game. The Dogs are beating Geelong in Geelong. I don't think the game has been this good this far into the season ever. Personally, I'm loving the football. I think it's great. And I think we're focusing on, 7 tackles or 9 tackles out of the 18,000 that have been laid. 9 of them have gone to tribunal as opposed to the 35 last season. So it's like, are we just looking for what's wrong? Or do we not have a football scandal outside of football to focus on? Is that why we have this perception that the game's fucked? Because I think the game's fine.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's work? The answer, the question is, what's working in the game?
6-6 rule. Yeah, that has been very good actually. More one-on-ones, more pure one-on-ones.
I'll kick it off while you're thinking, Jake. I think someone mentioned it, but I think this year especially, I think equalisation is working as well as the AFL want it to, because it's still like, even though Collingwood are shit at the moment, we still have a chance to make finals. Like anyone from first, 3rd to 13th could play finals. Like, it hasn't. I haven't seen a season this equal in such a long time. And it's just fun to see that now every game is a danger game. I think I don't know, you said it off air, Terry, that you haven't watched a dead rubber yet because there's no dead rubber games. West Coast are taking it to teams. North Melbourne are taking it to teams. Hawthorn,
Richmond.
Richmond as well. Hawthorn was 0-5 to start the year. And now, how many times do you hear at the start of the year over the last 10 years, let's say, fucking this team started 0-2, they couldn't make finals. This team started 0-3. Historically, they don't make finals. We've got teams starting 0-5 and 0-4 in Brisbane, and possibly Brisbane definitely going to make finals, but Hawthorn 0-5 could still make finals. It's such, Maz is right. It's an exciting competition this year because literally you don't have to finish top 4 to win the flag this year. That's how even I think the competition is. And I was just looking it up as well. So we're averaging close to 38,000 a game, which is the most in the competition's history. The second highest is 2008, and then the third highest is 2010. So I know we're still a couple of games away, and that could fluctuate. But at the moment, we're averaging the highest attendance in history. And the game, look, for all the shit that we sort of talk with umpiring decisions and stuff like that, I think the positives outweigh the negatives. But you're right, Terry. There's no Jordan De Goey mid-season going to Bali. You're not talking about him for 8 weeks if he's going to get traded. They're trying to make stories like this Clayton Oliver thing, but there's just no. Everyone's really pulled their head in. I think that's the big thing.
Fair.
Good call. It's a tough question, to be honest, because I'm trying to think of stuff like the fact that it's an equal season is more credit to the clubs playing good football than really what the organisation is doing, right? They have no say in this. That's just happening. Yeah, that's true. That's true. I would say the style of football across the board is actually really exciting. I think that's one thing I'm really, really impressed with this season. I think that's probably why attendances are up. I think that's probably why the bottom teams are taking it up to the top teams, is because they're not playing defensive. Every team is really just going for it now, which is really exciting. May not translate to scoreboard pressure all the time, but you see North and the way they come out and they want to take the game on. Hawthorn obviously are doing it. Even Richmond are doing it. We're starting to do it and scoring heavily, which is really great. So that's bridging the gap between the top and the bottom, because if you don't score, you're going to get blown out of the water. You're going to lose games. But if you can score 15 goals, 14 goals against a Carlton or against a Brisbane, that gives you every chance. And I think a lot of fans, even if your team's losing, but you're playing a particular brand of football, it's going to get you out of your seat. It's going to get you excited for the future, even if you're not winning. Yep. And I think that's a massive thing this season. Is it's not just the top 6 where the fans are optimistic, is it? I'm optimistic. And we're, 14th or 15th? Adelaide fans have something to be optimistic about. They've had a down year, but they've got a list and they can build to something. They might even get Clayton Oliver. Who knows? North are... All the teams that struggled at the start of the season are starting to find form and give their fans hope for the future. North was looking dim. Hawthorn, like you said, 0-5 was looking dim. We had a lot of question marks, but a lot of these teams just have something that they can hang their hat on, which you can't say about every season gone by. Sometimes there is 3 or 4 at the bottom and they're guaranteed wins. You don't think that this year. You don't come up against North or West Coast and go, well, this is guaranteed 100 points. They have actually improved. West Coast, as bad as they've been, they have actually improved this year compared to last year. They have.
100%.
So I think that's a credit to the clubs. I don't necessarily think it's the AFL organisation. I'm trying to think of something specific to the organisation that would be separate to maybe what is happening on field with the clubs. But that's one that I'm struggling with. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna. That was gonna be a topic. Was sort of cult. Would Guinea be a cult hero? Is he in that category? Is he a villain? Like, is there a difference, or is there like a fine line between being a cult hero and being someone that, like a Stevie Milne? For me, he's like almost cult hero St Kilda, but for everyone else, hated.
Yeah.
Is Guinea in that boat? Like,
I think Guinea was cult hero Collingwood last year and cult villain for everyone else. This year, it's cult hero for fucking all the 17 other teams, just because they like that we gave up so little for. we got so little for him. I think, and cult villain for us.
Firstly, Davey, I'm a sucker for self-reflection and accountability. And self-awareness.
I just love to complain.
I think this is comment of the year right here.
That's so good.
Just owning it. Doing what 99% of the population won't do and just own it.
Oh, that's so good.
1,000 extra tickets for club members. Cheers, AFL corporate. Thanks for giving us what should have been ours.
That's the equivalent of getting your friend to film you giving like a homeless person $5 on the street. That's what those 1,000 tickets. Like, oh, look what we did for you. Like, no, brother.
You're better off not doing it. Yeah.
Exactly. And for them to say, "Oh, it came from corporate," don't have to tell us. We know where it came from. Just give us the tickets, man, and go.
So anyway, I just thought I'd ask the question.
It's a good one.
Yeah,
tough one.
Did you answer it as well?
Oh, well, mine was generally around the evenness of the competition. Yeah. Someone already said it, but I love in terms of the game itself. I think, and it goes to show what happens when you just let something breathe a little bit. I think 666 has slowly gotten better as it was from when it was introduced. What it's going to do in finals, maybe this year, probably as we go on into the future, I think is so good because the momentum shifts in games for 3 or 4 straight ball ups. If you can get a score from that stoppage, is so incredible. So I think, I believe this game will forever be grey. I never think we're going to, I could be wrong. I think we'll never get to a point where we get a black and white game. No pun intended, Luke. I don't think it'll ever be this is just strictly that, because there's so many variables. It's a 360-degree sport, different angles, different body shapes, etc., different collisions with each individual moment, that you're never going to get it so crystal clear. And so having to navigate that reality with what we've got now, and so many different factors, corporate interests, sponsorship interests, health interests, legal interests, concussion, etc. So I don't know, man. I just look at it now. I sit and watch on the weekend, most weekends, I sit and watch the games, and I'm just loving the footy. And I feel like almost ostracized to say that, because it's like, no, well, if you're not complaining about something, then you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
maybe it's winning and I'm just loving footy. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, it could be. It just everything's just roses now that your team's sitting second.
No, but like, love watching the Saints. Love watching. Yeah. I hate to say it, but like the Bombers, when they get up and going, like, it's exciting. They're taking advantage of these new rules and playing with this momentum. And I don't know. I think it's great.
Well, let's just talk about that for a second. That Adelaide Bombers game, I know I said it off air, but that was game of the year. Kicking, Adelaide kicked 9 goals in a row, then Bombers kicked 7 goals in a row, and then it goes down to the final minute and a half. That was just, how can you look at that game and go, oh, but the umpire made a shit call? No, it was incredible.
Yeah, that was by far the best game of the year.
Yeah. Hey, Dylan, listen, mate. I've been here 6 years, mate. Every week I've been here. I love this game. I love this club. I've been here showing up on camera. Watch the tapes, mate. Watch your mouth, buddy. Don't we all just love footy?
Yeah. Well, we wouldn't be here if we wouldn't be footy abroading if we didn't.
Amen. So that's right. That's what I think. I think it's not as bad as what the perception is. So yeah.
Well, it's kind of to Davey's point as well. If the media wasn't complaining about something, what the fuck are they going to write about?
Mm-hmm.
Good news stories don't sell papers.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
How about this? You boys have made me love footy.
Yes,
thanks, Julia.
Love that, Julia.
Yeah.
Love that.
So, yep. I also love that younger players have never been more impactful in the game than what they are today.
Mm-hmm.
Consistently. Draftees. Usually it's a generational talent that comes through and takes over the league. Like, these young kids are coming over, and some of them are the best players in the league within 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. So, yeah. Like, look what Sheasel, like, I know, Kangaroos have got a lot of their handouts and stuff, but that team, their young core is just, oh my God, they are going to be a force to be reckoned with in, like, maybe not next year, but next year they're going to be better. And it's going to be fucking scary. It's going to be absolutely scary.
McKercher's good.
Classic. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that's me, boys.
Nice. Good. Bit of positivity.
Oh, just, yeah.
We love it. I'll go next if that's all good.
Yep.
Jakey.
Yep. Yeah, go.
Awesome. So I want to know. I bring up this topic because there's a lot of talk about Collingwood's aging list. How we gave up pick. Well, it looks like fucking pick 6 at the moment for Lockie Schultz. So our first round draft pick, and how we just haven't been good at the draft. We talked about it off air. We've been boosted by a lot of father sons, a lot of NGA prospects as well. So I want to know your biggest draft blunders. And I know there might be a fair few, but I want to start with 2 of the biggest ones for Collingwood and just the ramifications of the 2013 draft. That no one was going to know for the next 5 or so years. So this draft is GWS top heavy. So they take Boyd and Kelly with 1 and 2. Saints take Billings. This is a draft with Bonds and Pally. And it gets down to pick 6, and we take Matt Scharenberg, who by all accounts was going to be incredible. And could have really been anything. Injuries just took their toll on him. Then you get down to pick 10. So we had 2 top 10 draft picks, and we take Nathan Freeman, who played 2 games for Collingwood and St Kilda, and another one who was just riddled by injuries. So nothing on the players themselves, just absolutely riddled by injuries. Pick 11 is Dom Sheed, and pick 13 is Patrick Cripps.
Who?
who just played. This guy named Patrick Cripps
Oh,
played his 250th. Was it 250th or 200? 200.
I think he played his 200th. I don't know who you're talking about, but yeah.
Yeah, some guy Cripps with a double P. But those, I think, fumbling 2 top 10 draft picks in the same draft, and we weren't really going to know because it was, hindsight's 2020, obviously. But if you look at Matt Scharenberg, Luke McDonald would have been a good pickup, has played almost 200 games for the Roos. We were never going to draft Patrick Cripps because, the recruiters just didn't want him. So that's not something that I'm sort of thinking about. But then obviously you take Dom Sheed and you don't lose 2018. So those were the 2 biggest draft blunders personally with that comes to mind for a top 10 pick that we had, and because of the ramifications that the 2013 draft had with us. So boys, go into the trove, and I know there might be a bit, but what, like a top 10 pick, or because I'm not really looking at 20 plus, but
I mean,
how long have you got?
Where do you want to start? Honestly,
how long have you got? It's a great question.
What's number 1 and number 2? What number 1 and number 2?
So are you saying blunder as in the player was just not good enough, or are you saying should have got other player instead of this player?
Yeah, or should have got either. Yeah.
Shit.
I mean,
yeah, Jake, you can start.
I mean, everyone talks about it, but Paddy McCartan, pick 1 was tough.
Yep.
What was the alternative, though?
I can't believe he played. I mean, the alternative was Petrarca. But to be fair, it was 2014. Rui retired was retiring in 2017. So he was at the back end and we had no one else to replace him. And we were looking for that tall forward. And if you look at all the reports from back then, they were all saying Paddy was clear number 1.
Yeah, wow.
Best key forward they've seen, number 1. Saints have got 1. Nick Riot to retire. Get Paddy McCartan. So we did the obvious thing that a lot of clubs would have done. So this is a hindsight type thing. Because Track, I think, had question marks as well. I can't remember, but there were question marks on him. And then, what was the other one?
Do you think Billings was a good pickup? I was just about to say Billings, yeah.
Yeah, what year did we get him? Is he 20?
That was 2013. So that's the draft that I was just talking about. So that was
3, yeah.
Took him before Bontempelli.
Yeah, we took him before Bont. That's probably that one annoys me more than the Paddy McCartan one. Because the Paddy McCartan one was more need based and I can understand that. Whereas this one was Jack Billings was kind of like a mid that we were looking to get, and Bont's a mid, but bigger and better. So wasn't quite need based. And then I guess we got Nick Caulfield at pick 8. And now he's at the Doggies. That kind of hurts. Hunter Clark was 7, so that's okay. I'm trying to see what we got. We traded our future second and pick 39 for Dan Hanbury. That's probably not different, but future.
In the comments, Wooden Spoon Data, who I think are St Kilda supporters, said trading for Lovett in.
Yeah, I was
10.
thinking that too. That was my first thought, to be honest, because I think we had. From it was 09, traded for 16, Andrew Lovett. Yeah. So that was our first rounder, and he never played a game ever because of the scandal and getting arrested and whatnot. And I remember the day I was at school, and we landed him, and I was really excited because we just made a grand final. We just lost a close grand final, and he was flying. He played some amazing football for Essendon. And then I heard we landed him, and then, within weeks it never eventuated. We've just traded our first round pick. And then that was kind of the start of trading first round picks. I kind of think we picked 24 Jamie Cripps, and we traded him a few years later, and he's been one of the best small forwards of the last 10 years, to be honest. He's kicked over 300 goals, the guy. That one's kind of one that annoys me because I always watched him and thought he could be something, and we traded him. We haven't had that many top, Paddy, pick 1. Billings, Hunter Clark and Caulfield pick 7 and 8. Max King pick 4. That's not a blunder by any means. I think he's going to be an absolute freak. And lately we've nailed all our first rounders, to be honest. So yeah, that's kind of where I would be.
Has your recruiter changed? Because we've had Derek Hine for God knows how long. Has your main recruiter changed over the last 10 years or so since McCartan?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I think we're a bit stronger now in that department, to be honest.
Yeah.
We've been a bit more clever with, you need to get lucky sometimes. Pick 10.
Definitely.
Mateus Filippo, pick 10. Darcy Wilson, pick 18. These are, Lance Collard, 28. It's going to be hopefully okay. Hasty. Sometimes you need luck on your side, and we haven't had that for a long time.
Yeah.
And I don't like saying Paddy McCartan blunder because it's just so many other elements that came into play there with his health and concussions, obviously. So
yeah,
if he doesn't have those concussions, because there were games where he would just go absolutely nuts for a quarter. And I remember the game against Collingwood. I think it was Collingwood, and I can't remember who he was playing on, but he took an amazing mark and kicked a couple of goals. But in that mark, he hit his head. They went to spoil the ball and they punched him. And he's kicked... Oh, no, it was on Alex Rance when Rance was prime Rance. And he's taken a couple of marks and made him look silly. And we thought, this is the time. And then by the end of that quarter, he's kicked 2 on Rance and he looks $1 million and he's out with concussion. And you're like, this is how it's going to be,
Yeah.
So you get the good and then you get the real bad.
Yeah.
I'm hoping we're done with blunders, though, because we might have 2 top 6 picks this year, so we need to nail those.
Love that. What about you, Terry?
Oh, okay. You want to unpack it again? Literally, before this year, I would say, let's say the first 4 years strictly of Blue Abroad existing, we've probably spoken about draft blunders in those 4 years. So I find it really interesting that now I can finally be proud about one draft, 2015, that I see opposition fans commenting why are you bragging about your draft picks? But so I think we've had a number of drafts being the every pick in that draft, which just didn't work out. We didn't have a lot of top 10 picks that didn't go well for a while, but I'll explain. So we start from 2012. So that draft we had Troy Menzel at pick 10. I thought for sure he was going to be a really talented player. It just didn't work out. Ends up going to Adelaide, nothing there. Tom Temay at pick 35. Nick Graham pick 54. Nick Graham's probably the best of the lot there, but that was a really poor return from a draft where nothing's still there. 2014, it was pretty one of the worst total drafts. That's when we had Blaine Boakhurst, Mick Malthouse's boy at pick 19. Then Dylan Viojo Rainbow, where we could have had fucking Touk Miller. We had the same. It was Touk Miller or Dylan Viojo Rainbow, and we took Viojo Rainbow, who never played.
Yeah.
So there's that. Clem Smith was pick 60 that draft. Foster 63. It's tough because they're late in the draft, so whatever.
So you're not really,
I have to say 2017. You get 2 picks in the top 10. No disrespect to Paddy Dow and Lockie O'Brien. Probably a lot of the blame has to go on the Carlton Football Club as well for not having the right programming in place, development, culture. They came into an absolute shit show of a culture club, still trying to figure ourselves out. So that probably didn't help. But the reality is they're not on the list anymore, and they were top 10 picks. We do get Adam Chera now, who was in that draft, but we had to do it in a different way. So I would probably say that 2017 draft stings in terms of 2 top 10 picks. DeConing comes at pick 30, which was nice, but yeah. And then maybe the Stocker future pick that we traded, which was we were the first team to do it, I believe. And I love Stock, always will. It just didn't work out, and he's no longer on the list. So yeah.
I didn't realize Paddy Dow was pick 3. I'm just looking at the draft. I'm just looking at the draft now. Because that was a draft that we took Stevenson in. Yeah, far out.
So Pom knows. I'll tell you this quick story. We used to do this show in the studio, Pom and I, the Blue Broad show, and we were talking about, maybe it was Stocker, and I was asking Pom, like, oh, what do you know about him, this kid? We might draft him, or we've just drafted him. He's like, oh, well, Morris medalist, they don't grow on trees. And I like quickly interjected with, Nick Graham was a Morris medalist. And from there, he hasn't been able to let it go. Funnily enough, we have another Morris medalist on the list who's Lockie Cowan. But yes, sorry, continue.
No, so pick 3, Paddy Dow. You obviously would have not preferred because you're not really knowing hindsight's 2020. Jared, what about LDU? He was pick 4. Would that have been a need?
Well, that's the thing. So, like, realistically, at the time, like, you got Cripps prime, plenty of footy left. 2017, just entering the real start of his prime. His first year with us was 2014. So you're like, okay, realistically, LGU, I can understand why you overlook him. Chera was. I mean, we've got him now, so it's okay. But Chera was it.
Yeah, interesting. And who did you say? 10, Lockie O'Brien. Right.
Lockie O'Brien.
So 11, GWS took Aiden Bonner, and then it was Darcy Fogarty. There wasn't really many players around. Was it my Bonner? Is it Bonner?
That was good. That was very good.
Shit. Shit. Who would you have taken with pick 10?
So pick 10, we've got Lockie O'Brien. Now, taking into account that there is pick 30 where we pick Tom de Koning. Talking about a winger, knowing what we know now, Ed Richards, Zach Bailey.
Yeah.
Tim Kelly would have been nice. He was mature age though, so I understand. Yeah.
Hindsight, hey? Hindsight is 20, fucking 20.
I mean, I'm just delving into the archives and I'm looking at our 2000 and 2001 drafts, and I'm thinking if we ever pull that sort of thing off again, we're back. Because I can't believe when I look at like 2000, we brought in Fraser Gehrig, Aaron Hamill, then drafted Rewalt and Kajitsky all in the same draft. And I'm like, that's 4 power forwards that we've just landed. I can't believe that. With Brett Voss, who played 130 games and was actually pretty good. And then 01, I'm like, just to look at the good side of the draft, we landed Luke Ball, Xavier Clark, Del Santo, Matt Maguire, and Lee Montagna. And I'm like, imagine having a draft like that. Obviously, hindsight again, but I'm looking at this and it's like, Brownlow votes in those drafts, and like Riolt's polled 153, Dell 140, Lee Montagna 106. Imagine having 2 years at the draft and you get 3 or 4 players that get over 100 Brownlow votes each.
Yeah,
that's just not. You don't see that sort of turnover anymore. But I mean, we did have pick 2, 5, 13, 21. So you want to get those right, but we did.
Yeah.
And then you're playing grand finals, So it is quantifiable when you.
Did you know that Michael Voss's dad slept with Brett Voss's mum?
What?
I love Brett Voss. Underrated player, to be honest. He had very good hands. It was actually surprisingly good forward when we played him there.
Did he get traded from memory? Did he go somewhere else? Or did he?
Brett Voss was our preseason draft pick at pick 1. Preseason draft pick that year. So,
who would you say at the moment has had? I mean, Geelong comes to mind. Who would you say has had a specific draft where you're like, oh my god, wow, they've nailed that? 3, 4 picks, and you're like, oh shit, that's
I think recently, just recency bias, and I haven't got a good memory. I think the Kangaroos in the last couple of years have done really, really well. Like, was it last year's draft? Was it last year's draft that they picked up all those? Oh no, was it the draft before with Sheasel? Sheasel and Wardlaw at 3 and 4. That's like they're absolute jets. And then getting McKercher and Dursma the next year, that's true. And then obviously we can talk till the cows come home about them pick 1 with Horn Francis. But other than that, I think recency bias. It's it'll be the Roos for me. They're going to be incredible in the next couple of years.
I'm pretty happy with our 2021 because we got Nasir at 11, and then we had the two academy picks, 33 and 47. They were Machida Owens and Windhager. So Naz, Owens, and Windhager all together. And I mean, Naz has played 57 games, Owens 47, and Windhager 52. So in that time, 3 players nearly all over 50 games in the same time. That's what you want too. You don't want to just draft all these players and then play 50 games, one gets 2 games. When they all play together and they grow together, that's when you start to see the
100%.
The turnover at the end of the day, and they all click at the same time and they have all the same level of experience. That's when you see that fast tracked growth.
I think Hawthorn, when they got Buddy, Roughhead.
Oh yeah,
and maybe.
Oh yeah, and Will Lewis, yeah.
That was nuts.
All right, yeah. There's been some pretty, like, even you guys getting Mackay and Kerno in 1 year is incredible. But I know Kerno at the start had so many knee troubles, and so it didn't look like it was good until whatever you want to say, 3 or 4 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah, and I'd say Rewalt Cozzy, but I mean Rewalt was a priority pick, so those you want those to pay off at the end of the day.
Yeah, well, we drafted Thomas and Pendles. Thomas was a priority pick, and then Pendles at 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
there you go. The draft is. Yeah, some people say you don't always have to go back to the draft, but when you look, especially at your club's like most recent successful era, and you look at that maybe 3 or 4 years before that hit, and you look at the draft and who they landed, you're like, of course it's connected. Of course we need to go. And you always need to go to the draft. There should never be a time when you don't try and do the absolute best you can at the draft. If you got no picks, fair enough. But even if you got pick 40, you can land someone good. It is possible.
Yeah.
So you got to do your due diligence, have the team in place, and then obviously, like what Terry said before, have an actual development plan when you get the player with talent to be able to grow them. Because you see some of these picks and you're like, pick 12, pick 13, they played 2 games. I'm like, was that their fault? Was it the club at the time? If they had gone to a Geelong or a Sydney, would they have played 200 games? You don't know.
Yeah.
Just think that the 2015 Carlton Hall was one of the best things I've ever seen in my life.
Was the 2015? Was that the one that there's that video of Brendan Bolton doing the rounds where he's at the whiteboard saying these guys are like the spine of the future, and he was pointing to De Koning, Mackay. Was it that? Is that video?
So that was when he debuted De Koning in 2018 against the Dogs later in the year, and that's kind of like how he sort of did it. Yeah, yeah.
What a coach!
Yeah, great guy, Bolts. Love Bolts.
Good. Yeah.
Very good.
Love it.
All right,
awesome. Well,
Jake.
Yes, well, we'll get straight into it because we were talking about it before, and I had to hit pause on it, but. In regards to booing, I want to talk about that a little bit more and really the point of it and if it achieves anything. So we're coming up against Essendon on the weekend, so there's Gresham. We've played them already, right? And we booed him then, or I didn't, but a lot of the people at the game did at the time. They're going to, Sane is already talking about it this time around. They're going to boo Gresh. I'm like, at the end of the day, he wanted to leave. We kind of knew the writing was on the wall, and the same people didn't want us to be playing him last year because he was hacking the ball and out of form. But now we're booing him. And I'm like, I get it if the player is loved and he says he's staying and then he turns his back and maybe he's lied to your face, makes you feel silly and he leaves. For maybe a rival, if a Collingwood player goes to Carlton or Carlton to Collingwood or to Essendon, any of these big teams, I mean, it kind of comes with the territory. But sometimes it seems petty. Like Horn Francis. We were booing him when he came to Marvel last year or the year before, whenever it was. I thought that was the most cringe thing in the world. I'm like, we have no ties to him. We shouldn't care what he's done. And fans are actually wasting their energy cheering or booing for an opposition player instead of just cheering your team in the stands, which is way more important and productive. What is the point of it? Do you do it? Why do you do it? And tell me where is the line where they cross and it's okay to do versus maybe not? Because I just don't see the point. I love the club. I'm not tied to a player, you know? I'm not tied to a player. When Van Persie left for Arsenal, I was bloody heartbroken, but there's still Arsenal there at the end of the day, and I follow the club and I cheer for the club. I don't worry about where these players go. Once they leave, they're done. Why am I caring so much? It's like you have an ex-girlfriend and I'm going to walk around the shops and boo her in the distance. Like, what's the point? What's the point? They say to get over your ex, right? Get over these players. Get over your Gresh. That's what I say. So
get over your Gresh. I guess I saw it really recently. Obviously with Ginnivan, we just sort of talked about it. Like, I kind of get it. I think the weirdest one was the Horn Francis one. I remember Collingwood fans were bullying him. I think it was round 2 last year or whenever it was. And then there was a bunch of articles that came out about it after that. Like, especially if it's not your, like, not, you know, the saying, not my circus, not my monkeys. It's got nothing to do with us. But they just do it anyway because it's like learned behavior pretty much. They're just... Someone else did it. We'll do it. Put him off his game. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. I only do it when people are lining up for goal, and it's more of a who as opposed to a boo. Yeah. But look, each to their own. You can't stop people from booing players. But you're right. When a player says, "I love the club, not going to leave," do you reckon? I can't remember, but
is there an example of that actually happening?
Well, did Gary Ablett get booed when he played against Geelong?
There's no way. There's no way they played. There's no way. I don't think they. Firstly, because he's a great, and secondly, Geelong at the time would have been pumping Gold Coast. So
yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Yes, I'm just trying to think of other examples of like big profile players that might have gone to a big profile club, like even Franklin to Sydney. Did Hawthorn fans boo him when the first time they played? I'm just trying to think. I can't really.
No, I can't
think
remember.
there's some unspoken rules. I think there's a few categories here. So firstly, if a player does something directly to a club, like leaves the club in a really controversial manner or lets the club down in a certain way, like there's that. I also believe, and these are just unwritten rules that I think I observe, if a player, if they win a premiership with you, then they kind of get that, like they've paid their dues. So, Buddy, Gary Ablett, Ginnivan might be a bit different because he's young. Maybe that's what it is. But I would have thought that once you sort of win that premiership, you get a pass. In a weird way, you get a pass because they've brought your club the ultimate glory. I don't boo personally. I just think it's something that I don't know. You can get under a player's skin. You can just. I mean, you boo because you care. I would have thought. I think. But where other clubs get involved, like the Jason Horne-Francis one, like why is St Kilda booing him? Why is Collingwood booing him? Like that is where I think it's weird, you know?
Yeah. And sometimes the players thrive. Sometimes they love it, depending on the player, and you're made to look silly. So I don't know, like, so Collingwood fans, were they booing him at every possession on the weekend? They were, weren't they?
Oh, yeah, probably thereabouts. Thereabouts. But, and then the booing intensified when I think it was the third quarter. He kicked a goal and he kisses the Hawthorn badge like in front of the Collingwood supporters, and he does it. It's theatre, right? It's theatre. It's entertainment. And then going right up to I don't know if the cameras caught it when I was watching it. Going right up, Hawthorn just kicked the goal. He wasn't a part of it at all. Going right up to the Collingwood cheer squad.
Oh, is that when he did the?
That's when he did that, and then he was revving him up at one stage. He was going up to the Pies and revving him up. But if you, it's funny because if you watch his first goal that he kicks, and I don't know if he was getting booed then, but he goes back to the Collingwood cheer squad, and the cheer squad members are clapping for him after that goal, and then he goes and kisses the Hawthorn badge, and then it's fucking, then all hell breaks loose. So, I guess it is theatre, but with Collingwood. And what happened with Ginnivan sort of last year, like I said, I think it was more so.
You guys wanted him out, no? You saw a better option in Schultz and took the opportunity, isn't that?
We wanted. No, I think
you wanted both.
We wanted both. Yeah, from what we as supporters heard, and people can correct me in the comments, was we offered Ginnivan whatever it was, 2 years, have to fight for you. We told him he had to fight for his spot. Lachie Schultz was just a surplus because he's like, I want to come to Collingwood. You're like, okay, cool. This guy's going to be sick. Pressure defender. Bobby Hill was obviously just came off of Norm Smith. We saw, as fans, we saw it as he didn't want to fight for his spot. He gets 4 years from his boyhood club that he supported. Has all those pictures with Sam Mitchell and stuff. How could you say no to joining your sort of thing? But it was the manner in which he left, and then coming out and saying Hawthorn can let me be me after everything that we sort of helped him with, and the cubicle video and all this sort of jazz. Bit of a spit in the face, but I think that's the whole booing thing, which is different to last year when people were booing him for playing for free kicks and stuff like that. But I can see what the hypocrisy of it, but it is a little bit different.
And it's not just players that have been booed. I remember the first game at Marvel when Ross had left and he was at Fremantle, and we played for Fremantle in like round 2 on a Friday night. And I remember sitting very close to where the coach's box was, so he was coming down. And I remember every Saints fan got up and he's just walking past and they're going off at him, calling him every name under the sun, throwing stuff at him. This is before this is on the way down quarter time. Every quarter they would go off at him because of the way he had left. So it's not always just the players that cop it. It can be the coach, depending on how controversial the exit is. Gresham left and joined in on the Melbourne team, wasn't he? So, yeah, but I mean, I appreciate that, Guinea. So thanks very much for that, mate. Stop calling Kmart Jack Higgins. You wish you were Jack Higgins, mate. He's got a. Actually, he doesn't have a flag, does he? He missed out on. Did he win a flag at Richmond?
I don't think he did.
No, he missed one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he did. That's one. Yeah.
I think this is unfair. Didn't Jack Ginnivan kick 40 goals last year? 40 plus goals?
No, that was the year before.
That was the year before.
Yeah,
but
last year he contributed. Oh yeah, he was coming on as like the super sub and stuff like that. But that's when Bobby Hill was in the team, so him and Bobby were fighting for that spot. I remember that was the year at the start of last year was when he had that video come out and he was banned for like 6 weeks. So couldn't play any VFL thing. Yeah.
Do you guys remember this?
Darren Milburn from Geelong.
Nah.
No.
Mate, let me tell you. 2001. Blues are playing finals, late game in the season against the Cats at Optus Oval, Princess Park. Darren Milburn knocks out Stephen Silvani, like disgustingly knocks him out, tries to knock him out. It was fucked. He gets booed the rest of his career. And I'm talking like 2010. We play on a Monday. I'll never forget it. And the level of boo 9 years later, it was unbelievable.
That's a fair one. Yeah,
you hear the stories. It gets me going when I recount it. I speak to people who were there at the ground, and they're like, it was so over the top emotional because that's Stephen Silvani, first of all.
Yeah.
And then secondly, like people, like he had to be escorted to his car. He was clapping to the fans, like smiling as he's coming off. And then it just got super heated. It was about to spill over. It could have been really bad, like really, really bad. He could have been jumped. Yeah.
Jeez. Yeah. That's another layer of this topic, I guess, is when a player goes out of their way to almost end another player's career. Yeah. Then it's on. That's absolutely you do that forever.
I'm just watching I just want to watch the hit now.
Bro.
Oh Jesus. Oh my God. He went flow. I've never seen this before.
Jake, can we get a frame by frame of that hit and we'll just break that one down?
Can I see did he buckle his legs or
it was almost like Stephen Silvani dived, to be honest. He kind of was looking for the contact, I think.
On Silvani.
Oh, wow. You want to be real careful. I'm telling you now.
I'm watching it now.
Does he get him with the hip? That would fucking...
Yeah, man.
Jesus
Christ. Where is it?
Him up. It was terrible, man.
Jeez. That's hard to watch. That's hard to watch.
Yep.
Oh, it's even worse in slow motion. Oh.
Everything's worse in slow motion, mate.
Yeah. Oh my God.
How many weeks did he get?
Not enough.
Did he get suspended?
Yeah, I think so, but I don't. Let's have a look.
What did he get? Oh, he got handed. Oh no, it's not in the comments.
Oh, and all the. Oh my god.
3 weeks.
He got
3
3.
weeks. 3
He got
weeks.
3. He got 3 for that.
That makes me sick.
He wouldn't play the rest of. He'd have to retire today if that happened. Oh
Hang
my
on,
god!
that
There's
was-
a Carlton fan that just tried to jump into the interchange bench.
All right,
Yeah,
I'm
look
gonna
at
bring it
that.
up. I'm gonna
Bring
share
it.
it and we're gonna play it.
Bring it up. Oh my
Hang on.
god!
Look
I'm
at the
gonna share
police
it.
officers on the bench.
Mate,
Oh.
this stuff is like legendary right now. I'm telling you.
I've never seen this before in my life. Oh yeah, let's watch it.
Pickmont. Had to wait for the traffic to catch up. Silvani kept on going.
Fucking dog acts, mate.
He's collected another one.
Play
He
it frame by
collected another
frame.
Oh dear, that does not look good. Those images were just terrible.
Well, I just cannot believe Carlton, the saddest images of AFL football on that replay then.
Oh,
Look at this guy. Look at the state of him.
Yeah, look at the
he
smug.
fucking
him
loves
smiling.
it.
Well, I don't
Did
think he'll
he?
smile when he sees the replay.
Did he play again?
Look at
like
this
that
guy,
year?
mate.
Terry, did he
Did
play
he
again that year? Silvani? Did he
No.
play like?
Oh, sorry. He might have come back a few weeks later and played in the final against Richmond. Obviously, not well. He would
Yeah.
probably not have happened this year, but yeah.
Well, he's frustrated, Melbourne. He's lost it a little bit here. Now, the
Look
Carlton
at
bench
this.
have given him an earful
Like it starts to really bubble here.
there too.
Looks like the runner there's Peter Maynard.
Yeah,
Give a bit of a spray.
stuck it with a bit of a go as well.
Yeah, no
Still
doubt,
going?
boys. The Carlton runners having a go at him too. The Carlton supporters having a go. He'd do best to just sit down and shut up.
Now, this
Absolutely.
is the reason why the benches were separated at the MCG. Well, there's a guy over the fence here. It's just getting a little bit unsightly.
Yeah, you idiot.
Well, the main
Well,
concern.
this is unsightly now because he's very close to the Geelong people here. Now, someone's got to get rid of that guy and get rid of him quickly.
Get off there.
And he's-
Goose.
Oh,
The Carlton supporters having a go at the back of the bench here as well. So this is really rough. Richard Osborne, you're very close to it down there. Tensions are obviously bubbling over.
Yeah, look, if I was Geelong, let's hope nothing happens, but I'd be getting Darren Milburn off and into the rooms because there's some pretty fired-up supporters here. Obviously,
I've interviewed this guy before. I can't tell you, like the blood inside me right now. It's so good.
these Stephen
Well,
Silvani,
security have got to step in here too because it,
And the police here.
These are just scenes that we do not want to see at our great game.
well, there's scenes of a bygone era in football, aren't they?
Let's just hope Stephen
Now, the
Silvani's okay. That's
Security
gotta
down.
be
The police have
main concern.
finally arrived on
On
the
the
boundary line.
ground.
Now, there's not much police presence here today, I must say.
Oh my god!
The security guards have come in and they've just trying to hold up until the police get involved. Now the police have arrived. That guy is the guy in the middle there in the brown who belted the back of the bench. We had another guy around to the right who's almost hurled the fence to abuse Darren Milburn. And Milburn did himself no favours with his smile and his clap as he came off the ground. And, well, we're not forgetting about Stephen Silvani, and certainly it's very sad to see what's happened to him on the other side of the ground at the moment.
This has just been an upsetting day, hasn't it, all round?
I think Aussie's right. Get Darren Milburn into the rooms now.
There's Justin Murphy.
So Justin Murphy was his teammate, and he used to play for Carlton, and he was filthy at him.
Hmm.
Look at his face.
Yeah. Fuck.
There's Justin Murphy.
Oof.
Didn't look pleased with Milburn either.
No, shakes the head.
The Carlton bench will let him all know about it. Now, spare a thought for Stephen Silvani. That's the good.
Anyway,
Fuck. Well, thanks for
Disgusting.
taking us down that. I've never seen that before in my life.
wow.
Oh my god.
Yeah, man. It's a dog act. Such
yeah,
a dog
it's
act.
proper dog act. Yeah,
And that's why you boo.
3 weeks as well. I still can't believe that at all.
Yeah.
3 weeks.
What does he get today if it happens?
That's 12. That's 12 to 15 weeks.
Oh, 100%.
It's got to be over 10. It's got to be over 10.
Yeah.
I mean, Jack Higgins got 3 for a little tackle earlier in the year. That's the same as what he got. Unbelievable. Different times.
Yeah, Pommy's right. How far the game comes, you don't see that anymore. Like, which is good.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Yeah.
No.
Ew, my God. And that was
Because
like.
that was the action and the intent. He intended.
Oh, 100%. Oh, he intended to hurt.
He knew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you're 70 points down, nothing to play for, you go out before finals. You go out to hurt, right? Like, oh my God. True. If Jimmy Webster got 7 weeks, that would have to be fucking double that at least.
Yeah. 15 weeks.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Boo. Yeah.
That's why we boo.
That's a reason to boo, baby. Yeah.
Yes. That's why we boo.
Not a player leaving and going home and greener pastures. Relax, people. Bloody hell.
No.
Pull your head in.
I really like reacting to things that we haven't seen. I think that's a good little
big
thing.
hit or maybe a goal we haven't seen. That's a good idea. Something like that. Surprise a week. Yeah.
All right. I don't mind that. that. That's something we could add to the rotation. That has. I can't tell you guys. I can't tell you. Every time I talk about that incident, it like there's a spirit within me. I think it's the Carlton spirit. I don't know what it is. It gets
a demon
me going, man.
Yeah.
Like when I hear about people talk about how sad and angry they were on that day, and like seeing Hamish just like bang the back of that bench. That is why we love our club. That is what it's all about right there, you know?
Far out.
God. That's what I like about football.
Yeah. Bang. Full circle, baby. Full fucking circle.
Reddit's got a thread from 2 years ago called Biggest Dog Act in Football History. I guess Barry Hall.
Oh, yeah. My God. If that Milburn was 15 weeks, Barry Hall, they'd make him quit the game. They'd make him retire after
Lee
after
Matthews was actually charged with assault for one of his hits on Bruns.
Correct.
I've never seen that one.
Yeah, I did a project on that at uni, a school.
Shit.
So that's crazy. Hall on Staker obviously is right up there. Lockett on Craven, that was bad. Tony Lockett was going out to kill someone that day. That was a big hit. Milburn on Sauce is there. Solomon on Ling. What was Matthew Lloyd off the bounce when he went into that was enormous. And that started that giant brawl, didn't it?
That was Campbell Brown,
game.
wasn't it?
No, it was Sewell. Brad Sewell, wasn't it?
Sewell. Yeah.
I mean,
I was at that game, weirdly enough. I don't remember why or remember anything of it, but I remember that big brawl.
This raises the question. This was when I was doing torts law, and the question was, and we don't have this in our game anymore. Thankfully, we don't have this type of these incidents in the game, which I think is a great thing. But obviously, back then, it's like, at what point is the line crossed and something like that is assault? Because it's in the confines of the game. You're in the arena, in the battle. It's a free kick, etc. But the way the game used to be played, and the landmark case was Lee Matthews because he king hit him from behind and had to face charges outside of the game, which I thought was fascinating. But thankfully, I don't think we'll have to have this question anymore. But is there a point where you can be charged, based on the criminal law system that we have right now, like with assault? I
was just about to say, CMC just said it. I thought Gaff breaking Brayshaw's jaw was assault fucking out of the AFL confines worthy. Because that was malicious intent, fucking just Barry Hall could have been as well, because that was a king hit. Was Lee Matthews the one and only, Terry, that happened to, off the top of your head?
Where he was charged outside of the game?
The game,
I believe Alistair Clarkson may have as well.
Classic Clarko. That just typical. If he was the other player, typical Clarko.
Oh, the Solomon one on Ling is bad. Far out. He's run past. He's handballed it, run past him, and then gone. He's done the proper, gone bang to his face.
What about? No, I don't want to. I was going to say, what about I compile all of these for next week's episode, but I don't want to really be showcasing too much violence. But it would be a good reaction video.
6 to 8 weeks, I think you got that one for that one. Oh no, 10 weeks? You got 10.
10 weeks.
The comments are from. It's weird seeing comments from 16 years ago when this happened. They're like, he got 10 weeks. It just was announced 16 years ago.
Someone says, "Who's here after Jimmy Webster?" 4 months ago.
I remember even. Yeah, I don't think even Stevie Baker did anything remotely that bad to get suspended, and he's been suspended a lot. Actually, there's a whole list here. This is a good thread to tap into next week, maybe.
Yeah, it's just some light reading.
Yeah.
Great question. Great. That was good.
Good.
Should we do some tips, or should we do fan cams? Should we do fan cams first or tips first?
What are we in? We can do fan cams first.
Let's
We're
do fan
an hour
cams.
20 in. Get a couple of people on for a quick.
We'll get a couple of people in. If anybody wants to come in and bring a topic, please do. Bring us a question that we can ponder. The link is in the chat. And we'll go from there. Bit of fan cams action, mate. Fan cams is the best.
It is, yep.
I love the fan cams.
I'm that excited for. I'm just going to top up my tea, so when I'm back,
what are you drinking?
I'm ready to go. I've got like a lemongrass and ginger at the moment.
Nice.
I don't know what you recommend, Terry. I know you're the tea man.
I can't get it right. I work with Pommy. I can't get tea
I mean, I've bought like 50 million flavors, so we'll see what I have. Yeah, I'll get that going.
All right.
Be right back, boys.
We've got Lucinda, we've got Kev, we've got Pommy. Let's start with Lucinda. Hello, Lucinda. What's on your mind?
Support a narrative, because if you think about it, the players, the club, they're probably believing in themselves regardless. And if you look at our most recent defeats, under 3 goals, are they going to be really panicking?
For this Carlton?
Yeah, for example. So they might be thinking, well, we've kind of seen the evidence that we should have probably had Jesse back, what would have happened, but they're not going to stew on that. What I'm thinking is they're going to be building to play finals and hopefully the big dance. So my question is, the online narrative and or what doesn't escape them, do you think, like, yes, they've got professional psychologists and teams to handle it all. Okay, that's fine. But do you two, Luke and Terry, actually think that we sort of need to have a more nurturing, positive, kind of constructive criticism rather than toxicity? Because we could be hampering them returning to their very best, and we may not have seen their best yet, but we could, in my theory, be having detrimental sort of holding them back, because they might, even though they're professionals and they can, tune it out, they might be affected. I mean,
who is they? Sorry, with regard
as a whole, and any club. Yeah, Carlton players, any players, but specifically Carlton in this case.
Yeah, well, I can't really speak for Carlton, but the big thing for Collingwood was Ash Johnson earlier on this year, where he had to deactivate his Instagram. I don't think people realise how players, especially young players, they're always on their phones, they're always on social media, and they will read comments. Like, I had someone. Well, I posted something about the game. Oh, Bobby Hill was out with a strain or whatever it was. Someone commented, "Good, he needs a rest in the twos. He's been shit house." Bobby Hill commented to that person and said, I don't know what he said because the guy deleted his comment, but they read it. They read these things. And I get, Teresa said Schultz deleted his socials for a little while as well. Like, as much as they've got psychologists and they've got, they're on $500,000, doesn't really matter, because as we know, like, words can be like daggers to some people. And they cop it. Jack Crisp was copying it because he got 19 disposals instead of 20. and people wanted him to give money for the multis. So I agree, Lucinda. We definitely need to get rid of toxic behavior, but that's not gonna change anytime soon. It's when you can be anonymous, you can get away with anything.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the more we live in a world where you can have an anonymous profile that's not linked to you and can't be traced to you, the more we're going to see it. I think also we live in this really warped reality where we don't think players and their families read, see, and watch everything. Like people, I think very few people, I've been guilty of this in the past, have the ability to think about anyone else other than themselves and try and put themselves in someone's shoes. Like, what if your brother, sister, neighbor, friend was in the AFL and you knew them really well personally, family member or friend? You would go looking at every comment just to see what they're saying about your family
100%.
member, friend, neighbor, schoolmate, whatever. You would do it. And I think once you start realizing that, then you start realizing, shit, I may have contributed to this in the past, you know? So.
Yeah, see, for me, last week, I was just really worried for Curnow, obviously, because I know that, he's mature, but he's also human. People forget that because of the greatness he's done recently. And the guy was knocking on 50 goals and they were acting like it might as well have been 20. We've had, 4-way ties. And then I kind of saw Jesse drawing level as a blessing in disguise where he can just, reset. I mean, obviously it's professional expectation. It's, his desire to help the side. And obviously, the Coleman is the added bonus at the end if it's applicable, right? So when Jesse equaled, I just kind of had like this lifting of tension, like he's going to be okay. And then what transpired did. But that does not excuse what's going on. I mean, I'm literally wearing the whole Stronger Together thing, and that's all very well and good. But you would think that we really seriously fucked up last week. We bloody won, something that, the Magpies haven't been able to achieve for 4 weeks, to put that into perspective. We had that in common for a fortnight. Then we turned it around, and it's just, well, I don't want to tell anyone how to support and how to feel. They're valid. How they're acting is totally within their control. I can only control the blueprint that I have, no pun intended, because of Carlton and all that. But I'm just trying to inspire some, self-awareness and conscience, and in a way, trying to, after you get over frustration or fury or outright hurt, that's all well and good, but try and lift them up so that they can lift on the field and actually feel like they've got a nurturing environment to go again, even if that is winning by more and ultimately lifting a silver cup in September. Like, come on, like negativity isn't going to get there.
Jake and Luke, I have a question. I know that like the banter about Charlie Curnow free kicks, I know that it's not, you guys are smart enough to know that that isn't, like, it's not factual. Do you think Charlie Curnow is going okay this season? Like, how would you rate his season? If you had him, like, what's your,
I think he's been
like honest opinion.
Honest opinion. 100%. Like, why wouldn't you want him in your fucking team? Are we talking about the 3 goals, 7?
We're talking about Carlton fans looking for what he's not doing. They think he should be tackling more. They think that he's not doing enough. They think that he's clearly playing with some hindrance, even though we were told he rolled his ankle in the pregame before the Giants 2 weeks ago. And they're trying to bring to the conversation that he's not doing enough.
He's doing everything he has to do and more. Take a chill pill. Take a chill pill, please.
This comes back to what you said earlier, Terry. Like, we're looking for something that's wrong. And you can do losing, like with us, losing 4 games in a row, you can pick apart 10,000 different things in a game. But if Curnow's job is to fucking kick goals, he's going to kick goals. Like, his job is not to have 10 tackles. That's why you have, I don't know, Cottrell or Ollies or whoever it is that's tackling in that forward line and applying the pressure. He doesn't need to do that. He just needs to swing around and bomb him in from 50. That's like saying, like the Nick Dacos thing. Oh, he doesn't take contested marks or whatever it is. He doesn't go in. It's like, that's not his job. I think Pommy used to say it all the time. Like, and I've said a couple of times, why take your Ferrari out into the streets of Broadmeadows? Like, there's no point. There's no point doing that. You know, you take it to the beaches. You go to Mornington. You go for a cruise. You know, so yeah, it's just fans wanting to complain about something. It's Davey. Blame Davey. He just wants to complain.
Bless him. Lucinda, great question. Thank you very much.
Question.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
See ya.
Bye.
I just realized I put the link in the chat, but if you're not watching from
Oh
my channel, then you're probably not seeing it. So if you guys want to put it in your chat as well.
I don't have the
Where's the
Oh,
link?
you don't have.
I don't have the link.
All right. What I'll do is this. In the private chat, I'll put the link, and then you can put the link so that people watching from your channels can watch. Speaking of legends. Hey
up.
How are you, mate?
How you going, mate?
Good. Just finished a bit of work and thought I'd come in and watch you guys in my downtime because I'm sad.
You're not sad.
Always a pleasure, Pom, having you on.
A pleasure, never a chore, as they say. Could be a lie.
Oh, could we just also have like a really quick appreciation for Lucinda's slight behind the back drive by to the Pies? It was elite.
Oh yeah, I was. When she
Slight?
I was like,
that was slight?
you know that 50 Cent where he's like, why the fuck is he saying fuck me for? that little meme video of him. I was like, what the fuck did I do?
Elite.
Elite work. Good. Very good.
Without being stereotypical, it was a perfectly executed feminine back shot there, wasn't it? You know what I mean? It's something that girls have mastered, the way that they can smile at you and be really nice to you. My wife does it all the time. She can say I love you, but call me a twat at the same time. And I'm kind of there like, what? Did okay. Like, yeah. I thought we could play a game. Shall we pick our All Australian live as a foursome?
An All Australian or the All Australian?
Yeah, pick the All Australian.
You want to pick the entire team right now?
Yeah, I want to take over the AFL right now.
Sure.
I wouldn't put it past you.
Yeah, a great man once told me it's better to pray for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission. So
true. Yeah.
So how do we do this? Do we like pick a player?
We'll do it. Give me a sec. I'm bringing it up.
Okay. All right.
Because
if we're gonna pick a whole team, chuck me up for a second. I've got to make a pit stop because this might take a while.
No, one. It'll take 5 seconds. We can do this speed run it.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to think. We can do it with chat. You see, you get the chat to help. It's like watch-alongs.
It's easy.
You get
these guys don't
like
do team selection shows. Clearly.
No, it's like the watch along. Like basically, all we've got to do is be filler.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh. So what? You, Jake, and I, and if Luke comes back, we'll pick a player each.
Yeah, and we have the chat. We just fight it out.
All right, let's fight it out. Fullback, Jacob Wiedering, fight me, someone.
Yeah, Wiedering.
Yeah.
Don't be scared, Jake.
I think Wilkie's been quietly very, very good.
Fuck off. You're not bringing Wilkie into a Wiedering conversation.
We're top 2. Doesn't the top 14 get rewarded?
He's been very good. He was fullback. He was All-Australian fullback last season.
Yeah, in 2023.
And he's backed up the same season.
But you're not in finals.
I know. I'm staring. Thanks for biting.
No, because I was accepting of Jacob Wiedering not being in the team the last few years because we were shit, didn't play finals. I thought, okay, this is how it goes. When we play in finals, then we'll revisit this. He has to be in. Not only are we finals, right now we're top 4, also top 2.
Of course.
So I think that should be rewarded.
Your logic was sound before you explained it, but thank you for explaining.
Yeah.
You know what they say ground ball gets is the measurement of a tough footballer. I say bringing Callum Wilkie into a conversation of fullback.
Has he been bad this year, though, Wilkie? I'm just putting it out there. Has he been bad? I'm not saying put him in the team, but don't disrespect him
I
that
think
much.
he's been fantastic, and I had Callum Wilkie in my All-Australian last year, and I said
Are we talking?
I thought people were mental for laughing at it. But,
Are we talking about Callum Wilkie over how he deserves his place over Jacob Wiedering? I just joined in the convo. I don't know what we're talking about.
Who's the best fullback in the competition for All-Australia in 2024?
Off the top of my head, Callum Wilkie probably. Why? Do you have someone else in mind?
Thank you. Someone with a brain in this conversation. Bloody hell.
How good is salt? How good is it?
I'd have to be Wiedering.
Of course. Strictly
look at
because
this.
of the team's performance.
Pom's come in on his day off, and this is how you treat me.
I mean,
All right,
to be
what
fair,
about
our defense is 200 points better off than Carlton's, but our attack is shit. But I get you.
Okay, I'm going to make it easy. I'm controlling it. Cal Wilkie's not in this team. Right, centre half back chat and panel. Who are we thinking?
Harris Andrews?
Josh Battle?
I don't mind the battle call.
I don't mind the battle call. Yeah.
Taylor? Yeah, maybe.
But I mean,
Are you just doing it to build his trade value, hoping list managers are watching now?
I don't need to build his trade value.
If we put him in when you get a first. You know what? I'm going to give him Josh Battle.
What? Can we just pause for a minute?
Sam Taylor's had a really good year, though, besides his testicle rupture.
I mean, Harris Andrews, though, are we going to do a proper All-Australian and just cheat and put Battle at back pocket?
Yeah.
Oh, just squeeze him.
That's what happens when you're 13th.
The defense is still sound, though.
We've got to give him a Saints player, Terry, so we can make it hard.
Back pocket.
Okay, so shall we go Harris Andrews, the big guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll put Battle in the back pocket.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Other defenders, who are we throwing? Tell you what, chat, throw in a halfback, and we'll take a halfback from each of us, and we'll fight it out.
Nick Newman.
What about that guy from Fremantle, Luke Ryan?
Oh, you can't remember his name.
In the back line?
Luke Ryan?
Luke Ryan, yeah.
He's good. And the other one is Jordan Clark, but he called an umpire a cunt, so nah.
Yeah.
He's got the most marks in the comp, Luke Ryan.
Good looking boy as well, Luke Ryan as well. And that has to come into it because I want a good look inside.
Just so I can get a read on the chat here. They want Sinclair, Battle, and Wilkie in the All-Australian team.
Huge.
You know what? I would say that if Sinks keeps up the form that he's got and he flies to the back end of the season, there's every chance he could sneak on the bench, but probably not all of them. No.
So we've got Luke Ryan from one. Taz, who you giving into this conversation?
Newman?
Nick Newman.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to do the Adam Sard song.
Adam Sard. La 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 la.
You know what? I'm going to go with the Jewish sensation, Harry Shees.
Oh yes, the great Jew.
Yeah.
Which
St Kilda player are you bringing me, Jake?
Hey?
Which
give it a year or two and Nasai will be there as a lock.
Yep.
I like that.
He's been outstanding this season. Absolutely outstanding.
He has been good.
So we can't forget that. He might even get the 44, but probably not the team. But Sheasel.
Can you zoom in? Can you zoom in so we can see the...
I can do anything you want,
body.
Terry. You know me, mate.
Sheasel body of work should get in there off half.
Yeah, Sheasel and Ryan, is that the consensus?
So
Sheasel and Ryan 100%. I reckon you can cheat as well, and you can put Ryan here.
Yeah, I was going to say Ryan back.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Leave it for another runner.
And
what about
Terry's
Blakey?
Nick Newman call?
Yeah, it's got to be a Sydney player, doesn't it? I mean, at least they've got plenty there. Blakey's been excellent.
Nick Blakey?
Yeah, he'd be a big shout. Yeah,
I reckon Ed will dominate the team. Like Goulden and Warner, I think will both be.
True. Yeah.
Even Grundy could be a smoky.
Yeah.
So halfback, are we going Blakey?
I think so. I mean, I'm pretty happy with that if I was picking.
Terry, are you happy with that?
No, I want Nick Newman.
Nick Newman over Blakey. Newman has been good.
And he's technically a Sydney player.
Mm-hmm.
So it suits Swoop's pre-mandate.
Okay, looks like it's Nick Newman. I'll lock it in.
Nick Newman it is.
So wings, is this straightforward? Goulden's one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cripps, Goulden, Warner.
Cripps has got to be centre, man.
Yeah.
Cripps or Bont, yeah.
Cripps or Bont. Whoever wins the Brown.
But Bont will be on ball. Cripps will be, you sort of interchange.
So it'll be, Cripps, Warner on the other wing? I don't know.
If we're doing the All-Australian, technically we can just pick all inside midfielders.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's not do that. Let's actually pick a winger.
And we can just say this, well, Chad Warner's kind of fit.
What I'm scared of the most here is where we're going to fit Nick Dacos into all of this, because he's not really playing off the halfback.
Actually, Nick Dacos on a wing could work.
We could wing it. Halfback slightly plays in the ball and then rests on the wing.
Leaves Bont, Cripper.
That's how the All Australian picked their team.
Goulden, Cripps, and Nick Dacos. Can you just imagine them playing in the same team?
I just say, look at this team. If you put Nick Dacos there already, like,
would you have?
I mean, obviously Josh Battles got lost here. But...
I'll take that.
Like Wheater and Andrews are looking at Josh Battle and go, "Who the fuck's this guy?" You read, but that is quite strong.
Yeah, I think you could. Look, like you said, do you want to cheat and just put Dacos on a wing when he's never been named on a wing? Or do you want to?
You can name him on ball. You can name him on ball with Bont.
You could put him on ball with Bont. Yeah.
You can't discount Zach Merritt, mate, on a wing.
No, absolutely.
Would you put Merritt on a wing?
Merritt on a wing is a very good shout.
More likely.
He's definitely in the team, isn't he?
Yeah,
Merritt.
Absolutely. There's so many, there's Butters. There's even Andy Brayshaw's been incredible. Noah Anderson's been amazing.
Sarong has been really good.
Sarong has been crazy good. I mean, it's hard to the bench.
You know
is
what?
Be stacked.
I'd say Cluggage's back
even
end
LD,
of the year as well would be stiff.
Yeah,
I mean, LDU's in a losing team, but he's still been pretty good.
He's had a really good season.
I've got a winger.
Are we going Merritt wing?
Who's your pick?
Who else?
I say we cheat and put Nick Dacos. Halfback flank, he's kind of the wing.
Okay.
But who are you going to say, Terry?
I think you could maybe put Treloar on a wing, but you could also put him half forward because he's kicked goals this year too.
Goal kicking mid. Yeah.
Shout.
Yeah. Okay.
Jake.
Let's do Dacos because it's like aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dacos, but Merritt's got to be in somewhere.
Yeah.
He has kicked a lot of goals too, so you could say the same about with Treloar. The same with
Merritt's kicked 12.
Has he kicked 12? I feel like
Treloar's also kicked 12. I thought he's kicked more.
There you go.
I think he's kicked lots of goals recently, though, on Treloar. So it's like kind of sticks in your head.
And Merritt
staggers them out
every week. Yeah.
I think.
Okay.
Well, if that's what you're going off, Nick Dacos has kicked 15 goals this season, so he could be on the half forward flank.
Shall we just get Nick Dacos out of the way?
Yeah. Just put him on the wing.
You'll see why, because we're going to have Chad Warner on the half forward flank. He's kicked.
Because now you can see.
You're going to have Heaney and Warner at half forward or something.
I do a lot of these videos, and I can see why you put 25 inside midfielders on the wing, because you're like, shit, I've got to play him. Jason, we haven't got to Rovers yet, mate. So
yeah, true.
We can't play Lockie Neal at key defender, mate. So half forward. Are we going to cheat and put Treloar there?
Treloar, well, Warner and
Heaney.
I think you reward the top two teams. You reward those.
Yeah. Half forward. Full forward.
Is it Harry Mackay centre half forward, lads? Jake, you have a very strong opinion on Harry Mackay.
I really don't, though. But I really don't.
So we got just to confirm Treloar and Heaney half forward, and we'll put Warner on the ball.
No, Warner half forward.
Okay, so we're gonna go Warner. Okay, cool. No, just making sure.
Warner and Heaney, or is it Treloar and Warner?
I suppose
Treloar
we've got
and Warner
bench.
at the moment.
I'd put Treloar on the bench, maybe.
Treloar would be
Yeah.
on the
Heaney
yeah
there.
yeah. Treloar's bench. Heaney would go
Okay.
there. Yeah.
So centre half forward.
I want to put up a name, Jesse Hogan.
Yeah, Jesse Hogan would be my
yeah.
pick. Yeah,
Fair.
Jesse Hogan.
Yeah.
Would we
been-
agree the
he's
key
been
position
outstanding.
players are the top two in the race for the Coleman? Kerno
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Hogan.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Yeah.
It's a
Yeah.
no-brainer.
Kind of picks itself.
Yeah.
Well,
Terry's going to do everything to get Harry and Mackay in this team, just to warn you. I agree with him as well, but
he's kicked 5 less goals than Jesse Hogan, but he's done a lot more as a general forward. But fair enough. I take the point. Hogan and Kerno, we've got a bench.
Nah, it's got to be.
are we going to cheat with pockets and actually put a pocket forward? Or are we going to just the most goal-kicking mid?
Yeah, there's not many smalls that have taken the world by storm. Like,
Would
pure
you say
smalls.
Rankine? Been consistent all year before injury?
Been very good. Been very fucking good, hasn't he?
Even Carl Langford's bobbed up with 37 quietly. Same as Cameron and Danaher.
Dylan Moore's kicked 27 goals this year.
Oh, he should be in the team because I think he's sensational, but this is tough.
Mm,
Is this where you squeeze in a Harry Mackay?
you probably could squeeze in another big forward. Maybe Ben King with 45 goals.
Yeah, Ben King. Solid.
What about Jack Ginnivan? Played a game of his life last week.
To be honest,
just for that one game, chuck him in there.
Jack Higgins quietly 28 goals. Take him in there.
Yeah, you're right though, Jake. It hasn't been the year of the small forward. It's been the real big boys that have been kicking goals.
Usually, yeah, Charlie Cameron's right up there, matching with the big boys. He's not. Bailey Fritsch is a bit down. Stengel, Stringer 33 is not.
I mean, this is an interesting one, isn't it? Interesting argument because I always think, like last year there was a good discussion about Oscar Allen. He was feeding on scraps and kicked he was the 5th best goal kicker in the season.
Yeah.
So Waterman, I
was just about to
he's
say
been
Waterman,
playing
yeah.
that mid-sized player, and he's kicked 1,000 goals for a team that never gets the ball inside 50. When they were really bad, he was keeping them in games.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd probably put Ward. Could you give West Coast an All Australian though?
I don't think
that's it though, isn't it? It's because they're so bad, could you? But that's when Harry Mackay, like Terry says, is it because Stengel's the leading kicker, isn't he? Who's not a key from memory?
Yeah, yep.
30 goals, was it?
34.
Fritsch
Yeah,
kicked
because
35.
always video.
Green's kicked 30. Haywood's been solid. You know what? You're right. Let's go, Harry.
Yeah, there's not, yeah.
I think you might have to. I do like giving a Hawthorn player an All Australian selection though. I think Dylan Moore was a good shout.
I like that.
Yeah, Harry and Dylan.
All right.
Yeah, you could put Darcy. You could put Darcy there as well. Darcy Moore.
Oh, I put Darcy.
Even
He's had a really good season up forward.
Bont 25 goals. That's elite.
So followers, Bont, Merritt,
Grundy
and a ruck.
or Jerry.
Who was it? Grundy or Cherry?
Grundy.
Marshall.
Oh, you know what? That one I would absolutely pay for sure.
Marshall.
Actually, I can't believe I didn't say it earlier if he was a chance in our team, but absolutely he's a chance.
Has he? So Grundy or Marshall?
season?
Who's been the best ruck of the year?
Yeah, see, it's hard to actually compare players. Let's go.
I'm trying to.
Jake, would you say it's fair to say, though, that Grundy has turned a very good midfield into an exceptional midfield? And I think Rowan's just doing what Rowan's always done. I think, the Grundy story of discarded by the Pies, discarded by the Ds, coming to Sydney and being the star, making that would probably get him the nod. With all due respect to Marshall, I'm a big fan.
He has. Oh no, that's totals.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd agree with
So he's
that.
averaging more hit outs, Grundy.
Here we go.
Marshall averaging.
He's averaging more tackles as well, Grundy.
Yeah, 0.7 more. It's not a huge difference.
Oh God! He's a better TikToker as well.
Oh, yeah.
They're pretty much neck and neck, like in every stat.
Fuck.
So,
Tristan Sherry has had 134
he's-
tackles. That's fucked.
He averages like 7 a game.
I would argue that Sherry,
crazy.
with trying to
Yeah,
kill Carlton players aside, has been sensational. So has Kieran Briggs.
Yeah. Could Marshall be a smoky for bench, or they just don't do 2 rucks in one team like that?
Oh,
I don't think any of the All-Australian selectors are guests on Saints TV, to be honest, but
Yeah.
might be a shout if you invite one of them, bruv.
He's got to make it one day. He's been stiff. He's been huge the last 3 years. One day.
We gave you Josh Battle. What more can I give you, Jake?
What if I take him out and get Marshall? No. Well, Marshall's going to die.
Wooden Spoon Data nails it. They always pick 2 rooks, though. It is quite a common theme. It's like one of the few positions that gets love in the AA.
So let's look at our bench in a sec then.
On this Marshall around the ground. You know, they can go forward and kick goals. If you're picking 2, you'd pick one that's on the
Grundy,
ball
Bont, Merritt.
every day.
Grundy,
Yeah,
Bont,
Grundy.
Merritt.
It has to be Grundy, Bont,
okay.
Merritt, definitely.
All right, let's
And
move on.
And we've already got one of the interchange players as Adam Truor because we moved him for Isaac Heaney, or now we're sort of...
No, now we're sort of, because now I
Well,
realise...
let's go the
Neal.
clear-cut ones. Lockie Neal is first there.
Is he?
Well, he's got to be
He's
in
had
the
a
team,
good
doesn't
year.
he?
Zorko, Dunkley, Neal. Who's been the best?
Zarko and Neil.
Neil.
Yeah. Neal's there. They'll favour him. 2-time Brownlow medalist. He'll have that.
Sam Flanders, Zach Butters.
Would you say Heaney's first 14 games would probably get him in because he's still like top 3 Brownlow, isn't he?
Probably.
Yeah.
Would we agree? Like Heaney's,
Heaney's definitely.
early.
Heaney's
But then
getting
again,
in for
you
sure.
could argue, Terry. We had this argument about Wheatering. Everyone said, yeah, his first 16 rounds were good, but then he played Nick Larkey and 6 goals were kicked on him. And then the last games were averaged. Will that go against Heaney logically?
When you've got this many options, it might.
And we still haven't looked at Sarong as well.
Sarong, yeah. Brayshaw, Sarong, Houston, yeah.
Houston.
Hayden Young, someone said in the comments.
Yeah.
Dan Houston, just cause
no,
keeps mentioning him, incredibly underrated year as well. Like he's just been churning out the numbers.
We haven't got a Docker, a Giant, a Cat, or a Power.
And there's definitely going to be. Well,
It has to be
surely.
Sarong and Butters. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hang
All
on.
them teams,
I don't know
all them
about.
teams
I don't
are
know
in the
about
States.
Butters. Yeah, true.
Oh,
Put more
Matt Lang makes
more
a great call. Sicily.
Will Day. Fuck.
Yeah. It's not an easy job, is it?
Nick Martin,
Yeah, Nick Martin's been
Lockie
quiet.
Whitfield.
If you were picking
Noah
Winnie,
Anderson.
Whitfield would be there.
Anderson's been sick this
they-
year.
Max Holmes, is he up there or has he dropped off?
This is like the best conversation for this show because this is like, what you'd have over a beer and we'd all get really volatile.
So volatile. I've got my boys in. I couldn't care less who goes in from here, to be honest.
It has to be. It has to be Sarong. Is the next pick.
Okay.
Do you reckon
he's been incredible?
I hate to do this because Jake's going to love me, but champ starter ratings, Zorko and Rowan Marshall are the top 2 this year. But Zorko has been sensational since moving down the back.
Yeah, he's found
Like,
a
he
bit of a new lease on
dominates.
life.
Got to have another line in there, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do feel like Heaney will be there, won't he?
Yep.
Yeah.
So then we have to fight out for the last point. Why doesn't double E work on there?
You can leave. Just leave that
we've
one.
already had E, haven't we?
Yeah,
Heaney's
already
on the flank. Yeah.
Brad Hill, that's good. Next one is Heaney.
I knew you'd see that straight away. Okay, so we're agreeing on Neil.
Neil.
Treloar.
Heaney, Marshall.
No, Heaney's already in there. So Sarong. We need a Docker in there. They've been incredible this season.
Sarong, Jordan Clark. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the team, we are in battle. Ryan, Newman, Andrews, Shizo, Goulden, Cripps, Dacos, Heaney, Hogan, Warner, Mackay, Moore, Kerno, Grundy, Bond, Merritt, Neil, Treloar, Sarong.
I can't believe I'm going to be on a panel that has Josh Battle over Lockie Whitfield. I can't believe it.
Josh Battle's got to get 900,000 from Hawthorn apparently for fucking every year for 5 years. So
you put Whitfield in just so Terry could sleep easy.
I think
take Battle out. Give me Marshall on the bench.
You can't have 2 All-Australians and finish 13th.
No, he's saying take Battle out. Take Battle out.
I said take Battle out.
And who you replacing him with?
Lockie Whitfield.
Yeah.
And then Marshall on the bench.
Because of my OCD, I'm gonna have to do this properly. We'll put him on our forward.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I can't. It's hurting my brain.
Yeah.
Okay, so who's the last spot?
Marshall. You said they picked second ruck. They pick 2 rucks generally.
That's true.
Yeah.
And if he's not in the top 2, then he's pretty damn close. So
Jason Prime, I strongly disagree that Sinclair's better than Whitfield.
It's very close.
Yeah, but he's not
They're
better.
both maybe not this year, but he's building. He's building. His last 3 or 4 weeks have been amazing.
I'd say Sinclair's been very disappointing this year to his high standards, though.
Oh, to his high standards, but recently he's gotten back to that form that got him.
No, he's an elite player. I just think his 2024 hasn't been better than Whitfield's.
It's not over.
And I'll be honest, totally impartial. I'd take Saad every day
over
Sinclair.
It's not even the same conversation, though. You can't even have that same conversation. Sinclair's starting he's starting at the centre bounces. He's starting at the centre bounces. How are we talking about a running halfback flanker
I just wanted to fire you up, honestly. I would have argued at that point Cam Polson's better than Jack Sinclair. That's how much.
I mean, to be honest, Whitfield's stats, if that's an up year for Whitfield and that's a down year for Sinclair and they're still almost level, that's not bad for Sinclair. Just looking at the numbers, that's disposals, it's 21 to 24. And then everything else is pretty much the same. So that's not bad.
Mate, honestly, you keep reading the data. Whatever helps you sleep at night, Jake, helps me sleep at night, my friend.
I mean, if I'm not annoyed that Whitfield's doing well.
No, mate, I'm with you. I mean, we could argue Mason Wood. We should maybe put him instead of Nick Dacos. Nick Dacos hasn't seen the wing, has he? Unless he's gone to KFC.
I know Mason Wood is more pure wing.
Oh, that is an elite. That's an elite one right there.
Good.
Well, thank you very much. I've taken up way too much of your time.
That's good. That's a good way to wrap the show up. I reckon.
Well, we've got 3 more, so we'll do them really quickly. Yeah.
Oof. Have your questions ready, people?
All 3 of you are my favourite YouTubers, so thank you very much for having me. And
thank you,
peace, love, and light.
Thank you, Palm.
See you, mate. All right, real quick, we've got 3. We've got Ben, Kev.
Battle stiff there, but
we've got 2 Bens and a Kev. We'll start with 1 Ben. Ben, hello.
Oh boy.
Hello. How you guys going?
Good, man.
Good, mate.
Good.
Well, I was going to ask you a complicated one, but I'll add my 2 cents for the All-Australian.
Yep.
One could be Sam Collins. I think he's underrated in defence.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick Larkey. Honestly, gets it 50 metres, kicks it 60. It's amazing. Just gets it over the line.
I guess a good shout. What is he on? 36 goals. But yeah,
He was in the
couldn't
team
have him
last
over.
year.
Yeah,
Wasn't he? Yeah.
I think he was, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But again, how many
hard.
players do you want from lower clubs? You know.
Well, I've had Tuke Miller in there as well before, so
That's true.
It's hard when you got big boys, Kerno, Hogan.
Yeah, there's too many
Harry. It's really
bigs
hard.
doing well, I think.
So this might be a topic of discussion for a future episode, maybe. But I've heard a lot about concussions in the AFL and sporting codes around the world, and I've talked to Luke before, and I'm from Wellington. So was it our Super Rugby competition here this year? They've added, it's a smart mouth guard that players have to wear. So if a player gets hit over, I forget, it was an article I read. It was like if it's like 70 or 80 G's of force, like
it registers, right?
Yeah.
Like it registers, yeah.
So there's something, not an easy fix, but something the AFL should definitely look at.
That's a really good idea. That's a really good idea, Ben.
Yeah. An example would be the Jeremy Cameron incident a while ago. Like, he didn't come off, but if he had a smart mouth guard in and that registered like serious impact on the head, like he would have to come off straight away. And
yeah.
Like John Dawson and all these other smaller incidents, like if it registers, I think if it registers over a certain amount of G forces, then like the doctor will get them and have to do a HI assessment. So
yeah,
it's still trial and error, but
that's crazy.
I didn't know it existed.
That's good.
Yeah, I think it was club rugby in England and club rugby and Super Rugby in New Zealand have trialled it. They had an article, a news item on our sports news tonight that they were even trialling it for like under 13 rugby here.
Oh,
like
good.
The university was trialing that, like head contact and see if anything happened there. So it's still a while away, but I think that's something the AFL should definitely invest in. Like, yeah,
I like it.
So
Ben,
very good. Mate.
Great, good one.
Thank you very much, mate.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Love the show.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you very much, mate. Footy abroad, all around the world, world.
I love Ben. Thanks for coming on, buddy.
Right. We've got Kev, we've got Ben, and then there's another Collingwood supporter in that waiting room. All right, we'll get to you guys one by one. Kev, hello, mate.
How are you guys?
Great.
Good, yourself?
No, not too bad, except for Collingwood playing shit. And I found out recently I got sleep apnea as well.
Oh, Jesus.
So I had to do a sleep study a few months ago and found out that I stopped breathing while I was asleep.
Oh, God. Please look after yourself, mate.
Yeah, we'll do. So at the moment, I've been wearing a mask, and it's been helping me breathe at night as well. So I've had a bit of a challenge with that. So yeah, it runs in the family. Unfortunately, my dad's got it now. Me, had to go to the doctor. They told me that they found out that I had sleep apnea, and having to wear a mask at night. The only problem is that first time wearing it started going through my eyes as well. So I had to adjust the mask as well for the breathing. And when my mum told me that I stopped breathing, I had no idea that I literally did. So it's dangerous. So it's
definitely look after yourself, mate. What do you want to chat about quickly?
So what's your worst experience that you ever witnessed? Like something ever happened to you or happened to anyone else? Either at the footy or anywhere in general.
Oh, geez, that's a big question for 10 o'clock. I guess we'll keep it to the footy because want to get too personal too much. Oh shit! Biggest incident at the footy.
Why, Kev?
Oh.
Why do you ask?
No, it's just that there's been incidents where there's been arguments between two people, and I've stepped in to, you know, to stop it before it goes too far. And for me, I don't want to see anyone get hurt. I don't want to see, you know, police getting called and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, if I see something, I'm gonna say something. You know.
Yeah.
That's the type of person I am, and
Yeah.
whether it's your mates or your family or just random people, yeah, it's all about that care factor that you have. And I know people say that you shouldn't get involved, and you know, I hate it when people, you know, don't mind their own business. But for me, like if I notice that something's happened and I don't get involved, that's going to affect me pretty badly if something does happen.
Yeah. No, you're Kev. I've talked to you for quite some time. You're a good dude, man. And yeah, you got a really kind heart, brother. Which is something that shouldn't be scoffed at. You're a good man. And I'll probably see you at training tomorrow if you're going to be there.
Oh
but,
no, I've got work tomorrow, unfortunately.
Yeah, damn. But well, I'll probably see you around. But yeah, probably a little bit too deep for 10 o'clock, brother. But
no,
you just be safe. Whatever you're sort of doing, just make sure that your health is paramount and your safety is paramount as well. And you don't want to sort of jump in and do anything that's
no, we'll do. It's just that this is unfortunate for me. Yeah, this is all new, having sleep apnea, and the worrying signs that I could die if I'm not careful. If I don't wake up. So yeah.
What can you do? What can you do to help Kev? What have the doctors told you that you need to do?
They only told me that I'm gonna have to wear a mask. That's the only thing that I know. That when
in terms of like looking after yourself, what have they told you?
Oh, they didn't tell me anything specifically that. They only told me that I've got sleep apnea.
Okay.
Yeah, they're probably going to do a few more tests because my dad had it for a while. He was on the big robot machines, and then they go back. They do tests. Then he looks after his health. He goes to the gym a little bit more. He eats a little bit better, and now he's not on the machine anymore. But it is sort of hereditary because none knew had it, and et cetera, et cetera. So, yeah, you just got to definitely listen to what the doctors are saying, brother, and look up and look after yourself. But hit me up in the jump on Instagram. Hit me up in the DMs, and we'll have a chat. All right, Kev?
Yeah, we'll do, mate.
All right, mate. Thanks, brother.
You guys.
Thanks, mate. Cheers.
Cheers.
Ben.
Hello, guys. What's going on?
We're good,
bro.
Just a quick question. Of course, you guys are probably the future of like football media and how we broadcast and stuff. But is the traditional football media getting a bit lazy? Like particularly Channel 7, like they broadcast the games, but they hardly have any footy shows. Like I'm a bit of a footy historian and everything, and like it's a bit before my time, but when like they were the only network that ever had the footy up until 2001, they had a shit ton of like footy shows they used to have, and ever since they did get the footy back, but they've hardly really done any like big footy shows with it since, and I feel like they've gotten a bit lazy. And like next year Fox Footy get to do all the games with their own commentators, so might not even like see their footy coverage like ever again. Just your thoughts on that?
I think the footy show, you couldn't have that now, could you? In its purest form.
You could maybe have it in a different way, but
is different as good though?
Maybe, yeah. Just in terms of just focusing on the game a bit more and instead of other irrelevant stuff, I guess.
So they've got the front bar. Would you count that as a top footy show?
I'd count that as a top footy show.
I love the front bar. I think that's the sort of new ways. I think the thing is you don't want to. When is too many shows too much? Like how much burnout do you need? It's a 24. It's already a 24/7. It's 24/7 cycle already. You know how many more shows? Like they've got talking footy. Then What's there? There's like
What's
Footy
Footy
Furnace. with Lee
Furnace?
Matthews.
What is that?
Yeah,
What's the point of that show?
I don't know
Lee
where that came
Matthews.
from.
Lee Matthews doesn't even go in the studio. He's on a screen, mate. If it's not good enough to fly in, don't have the show.
Yeah.
Lee Matthews, Tom Morrison. Who's the other guy? Selwood.
Bartel.
Like, how do they come up with these lineups?
Yeah. I'd love to see if anything. I'd love to see a player-driven show. That would be cool. Like present player talking about the issues and stuff like that. Maybe that's something that they can look into. But yeah, I think I'm getting like I have to watch First Crack, 360, fucking this, that. Oh my god, it's too much.
To me, it seems like it's out of fear. They're all PG. They all don't go too deep into the topics. It's all top line. Having a show run by a player, do you know how terrified the AFL would be in the club itself?
That's true as well.
You think
that's true as well.
Worrying about what they say and how they act. It's hard enough for clubs to try and manage players' social media accounts. Imagine having your player in front of a camera talking about a sling tackle from another game regarding other players.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all out of fear, and that's why I think the footy shows have died, because you can't have a footy show unless there's some form of entertainment. And back in the day, that entertainment was funny, and now you couldn't have Sam Newman walking around St Kilda chatting to bogans. You couldn't do it.
It's also got to do with the. Oh, sorry. Do you want to speak? Or?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think the future of the show is a show where you integrate fan channels with ex-players and footy personalities, and you like the overlap. I think that would be the future. And I think the future of content will include a live chat. And that's the one thing that we don't have right now when you watch media. They're just talking to you. They're talking at you. Like, this is how it is.
Being able to call up. Imagine being able to call up and chat to Robbo and say, mate, this is my topic of the week. What do you think?
Yeah.
Imagine that.
Listen, live's hard. Live's hard. Live is hard, especially when you want to add the element of like fan cams or people calling in and you don't know what you're going to get kind of thing. At least if you're on a big network, you got a producer who will screen the people beforehand.
They do callback radio. I mean, talkback radio. How hard would it be to get people to call up and have a chat?
Yep.
Thanks, Ben.
Cheers, guys.
It's a good thought idea.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah, thanks, no worries. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
You too.
Ultimate greatness.
Yep.
Hey man.
Guys. Yeah, doing all right.
Hey, mate.
Hey, mate.
It's a Collingwood affair tonight. What's going on, guys?
I thought I'd pop in because there definitely has been that much support tonight. So I thought I'd just trying to fill up the numbers.
What's up, mate? What do we want to chat about?
I'll start off with just a quick question. Obviously, you guys have done content, and I think at the end of the day, you guys all do. Obviously, you have your thoughts like around like the league. If the club, and I would even go to the AFL point of view too, if a club or the AFL itself would say, "Hey, we will give you a job. We don't care what it is, but it's your choice." What job would that like? What role would that be?
If we got to choose.
Question. Yeah. So like, if it's like, because I mean, for me personally, I was thinking about that today. Because I think, at least from like a Collingwood perspective, like I was even thinking, and I'm not saying that these are easy jobs, and that's probably the fun in the question, but like, even just being, being like a best manager at the moment would just be at least currently, such a thing I'm most passionate about, because the list at the moment, for at least from a Collingwood point of view, is a very interesting. Is pretty much in a very interesting position. So, being the person to sort of like step in and to be like, hey, like I'm going to put my superhero cape on and sort of help out. I'm just sort of like curious on like, do you guys have similar thought process to that? And like, if so, like what sort of areas? And as I said, it could even just be the AFL. Could just be, hey, I just want to take over the AFL and be, and try and take over Gill's position, or not Gill, blanking on the new guy. Andrew Dillon. But I was just curious on like what position, if it was like, if they're just like, we don't care what position, but whatever you feel is the best position, what do you think that would be?
I'll start off because mine's easy. I don't know enough about football to be in anything higher than doing TikTok dances with the players. So that'll be my position. That'll literally be my position. Anything social media, because I am not fluent in football enough to, like Pom with list management and all this, and too much for my fucking brain. So let me do TikToks where they're cooking. Let me do TikToks where they're dancing, and I'm happy.
Ooh, player. I know we had this role maybe a few years ago. I don't know if it still happens, but it was like just someone that the players could go to even during the game or after the game. If they had a bad game, they could just talk to them, like player welfare or something.
So it's all like a therapist.
Like I just would love if, Max King has a bad game. I'd love to go and have a coffee with him the next day and just talk. Just get it off his chest.
Cool
just help with the mental health, like that sort of thing. That'd be quite cool. And if it was like an actual football related thing, I'd love to be part of like a sort of, match day, just tactics or, game day strategy, sort of second row back behind the main coaches. But if, you just watch the game and you might not say anything for the whole game, but if something's jumped out, you can kind of just present that. And if Ross wants to take that on board and do something with it, he can. If he doesn't, then he doesn't. But, you need a full team. And I do love the tactical side of the game. So I think that could be quite interesting.
I get to choose the job that I do, right?
Yeah. So it could be anything. It could be as big as being the boss of the AFL, or it could be as small as being the leader of the cheer squad or something.
Mate, I have the best job in the world. I would do what I do now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love that, Jerry.
Yeah. I think my skill set is centered around listening. And so I think I would have a really good, I think I do anyway. I don't work for the club, but I think I kind of do it indirectly for them anyway, just to sort of like gather the fan sentiment and listen and give fans an outlet. Sometimes we can get really passionate and stressed and emotional. And I think the channel Blue Abroad plays a role in just making sure that stress doesn't become too much and overspill, because next week there's a new game. So I think, something more around what I do already, just working like in depth in the trenches with the fans.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, love that.
Because it's a very in-depth question too, because as I said, like you'll have someone like me who, even though it's one maybe more based on emotion, where it's like, I'm just like, just whatever the big role is, give me the big role. I sort of want to like take over and sort of like make things like sort of better for everyone in general. But then you might have someone else that's like, that may not want that as well. So the different personalities will obviously create different answers, and that's where the depth in the question probably comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good question. That's a good question, man.
Yeah,
man.
I try to live up to the name every now and then. So, God, because I had 3 questions to come on here. Now I've forgotten the other 2.
We've got one more.
Yeah. All right, here we go. So academies. What's your guys' overall take on it? And do you think, because at the end of the day, I think the best way to do it is to make sure that no matter how it's worked out, how it's done, every club should have the same opportunity as the next. And obviously we know that there are obviously the northern clubs they obviously have like, like not only do they have the father-son, not that the Giants and the Suns have like father-sons coming through, but they've got the academies and all that stuff. Just a quick overall take on what you guys would want overall as a whole. And obviously, I don't know if it's in play at the moment, but I believe like all the rules that we said, I think it was last week, if not the week before. What's your guys' overall take with
the system,
the
structure around the system? Yeah.
I don't know enough about it to have an answer, to be honest with you.
Yeah, fuck, that was my answer.
That's my answer as well.
I know it's too convoluted.
Yeah, I think there's a fallacy that we all there's a fairy tale that we all try to live in, and that is we want it to be fair for everyone. Life's not fair, and I think it's never going to be 100% evenly spread. So
yeah. Because also with the AFL too, like they want to grow the game in like the New South Wales states, the Queensland states, and as much as I get that as well, but you also can't be But then it's like, oh, well, how come we're not growing the game in Perth? How come we're not doing in South Australia if we want to take Victoria out of it? It's just, again, it's just a discussion that I think can be had, should be had. And I'm not, obviously, being a Pie supporter, we've obviously done pretty well there, but you just sort of like look at it and it just seems overall the system, as you said, it's probably not like the fairest sort of like going around. And the fact that it ever
will be.
Yeah, that's the joys of the AFL.
Yeah.
Like, are we ever going to get to a point where we're saying every club has there's always going to be a club that will feel hard done by,
Yeah, but that's the thing. Yeah, well, I mean, I know the Jamari Ugahagan situation is like that's going to make most clubs annoyed. But I always find it to be a bit hypocritical because, like, when one club gets a number one pick as an NGA, the same club that whinges will get that same number one pick like 5 years, 6 years, like later on, sort of thing, and then they're not then whinging because then they've got it. So.
It all comes in roundabouts, right? It all evens itself out somehow. You get a priority pick this year, your fucking team's shit in 6, 7 years, and you get 2 priority picks. I think it's all very recency bias and what's happening at the moment. But if you look at it over 10, 15 years, it all sort of peters out. Yeah.
Because especially even with like the even with like Dacos, how we got him through father son, like, and a lot of people can say like, oh, well, you got him for, I think it was like 2 late seconds and I think like 3/3 or something like that in terms of like points. But that's not something that Collingwood should be sort of not accused for, but that's not necessarily Collingwood's problem. It's more the AFL being, well, no, you should have a first round pick or you should have this, there should be standards put in place.
But again, that's like.
Sorry to interrupt. Can we pick up? Can we continue this next week? I think this is a really good topic that we can expand on next week.
Yeah.
And we can go into it a little bit more in depth. I think you've actually just given us a topic indirectly next week.
Happy to hear it all. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, man. Thanks for calling and thanks for asking.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, all good.
Thanks, mate.
See you, mate.
Cheers, bud.
All right, we've got one more quick one, and then we're going to wrap it up, guys, because it is late. Scoops, hello, mate.
Hi. G'day, gents. How are you?
Hey.
Yeah, good, mate.
Good, mate. How you going?
Mate.
That's good. Not too bad, thanks. No, I was just going to bring up the Josh Battle thing. I saw Pommy mention it for you, Jake. But the Josh Battle, the longer this drags out, the more you think he leaves. But it's still, I feel like, up in the air. But the one benefit of losing Josh, which obviously you prefer not to, as Jake would want him to say, I'm sure as well, is if you get that compo pick being after your first round, which would be pick 4 or 5 for us, and then you get, say it's 4, then it'll be 5. You could either keep those 2 picks, which high-end talent that we need, or you could trade out 5 and then get for 2 later first rounds where Freo have like picked 10, 14 and 16 at this rate where they got things like Quadelaide's and someone else's future first. So it could be a way to have more future first round picks in too, or current first round picks in.
Yeah, I think that's a good. I
hadn't thought about that, to be honest. Yeah, I've been focused on if we got 4 and 5, just use them for the best available mids, but
or that, of course.
Forgot about Freo. Depends how deep the draft is, though.
That's right.
Does it drop off after the top 10?
It's a bit better, Jake, this year than it's been in the past. There's Polly, if you look at, say, power rankings at the moment, you could look at guys that are around 20 at the moment who could easily be around the 10, where last year it was very thin after around pick 10. But yeah, this year you can probably go to the end of the first round where you could be happy. But then again, depends who you want and what type of players. And there's a lot of mids, though, in that crop of names. So that does help if, again, with certain players, if they can push out or not. But we'll see.
What would you do? What would you do if we had 4 and 5?
If we had 4 and 5, I would probably assess who would be around that mark, say hypothetically around 14, which is some of Frero's picks around then, and go, okay, if you can get that star mid at 4, if we're planning to get another mid, there's a bit more mids to pick from. Do we feel these group of 3, one of them could push out? I think we'd all have to go around that. Then you can look at who's got those picks in between, what they're kind of looking at, and everything like that. Like, for example, Sydney probably look at, they don't need mids, right? They got all those star players, so they would probably look at key position. You're like, okay, if they've got a pick in between, they'll pass on the mids, so, and keep kind of grading it from there.
Yeah, that's a fair strategy.
Other thing as well this year that's going to be available to clubs for the first time is the ability to draft future picks, not from the following year, but in 2 years' time. So I wonder how Saints, Collingwood, or Carlton use that.
That's right. Yeah, that'll make things even more interesting in future trades. And a lot of players these days, with the salary cap going up too, how much money some players have been, thrown out. I remember, Jake, I think you mentioned when Mac Andrews is he really $1 million player. I agree with you. I don't think he is at all either. But yeah, just these figures for some players is just ridiculous in general. I know the cap's gone up however much, but it's ridiculous sometimes in a way to hear, oh, this guy's on $1 million. Like everyone's now being thrown around $1 million, where no one in the past was rarely linked to that.
Yeah. That's like Josh Battle getting $900,000.
Upwards of 900. Yeah.
He's a good player, Josh, but that for most players that get thrown around that figure, I would say around 650 would be around the mark. I don't know what you think, Jake, but that'd probably be around the mark, I'd say, in general. But now that it's going up, 950 might be the new norm now.
Yeah.
It sets a precedent, these sort of things.
It does.
Big contracts.
And then, of course, and then when players go to new clubs, generally they're going to get more than where they were currently because they're trying to pry them out of the club. That's generally how it'll work.
Yeah, Brad Hill.
Yeah, exactly. Prime example.
Yeah. Yeah, the draft's going to be interesting for the Sainers.
Yeah.
It will be.
If we nail it, I think we'll be all right. I'm pretty
It could be good enough. Obviously, with Mateus and all aboard the Filippo train and Malero. And I don't like, Jake, I know you've mentioned it a few times over the last month or so, but the Max King hate, I think, is a bit over the top. It's always when you get triple teamed, and you get the best defender every week, much harder than people think, where some other players that they laud all the time, they're not always getting the best defender like he does, and they're not getting triple teamed and everything in between, and having injuries happening all the time. Obviously, his form hasn't been great, but doesn't excuse it completely. But I think some of the chat around him is ridiculous. And talk about trading him, I just laugh at every time I hear some so-called experts say that.
People say that. They're like, St Kilda should do it. And they really mean the opposite. They're testing us there because if we do it, they're this first journo to come out and go, they've just ruined their club. Even though 2 months ago they said trade him. So they're a bunch of hypocrites. They just want a headline,
Absolutely.
mate, as you know.
Absolutely. Yes, fully aware of how they operate. That's right. It's easy.
Thanks, Scoops.
No worries,
Thanks,
That
Scoops.
was awesome.
Good chatting with you, mate.
No, it's you too. See you.
See ya.
All right.
Whew.
I think that's us.
Monster episode. Monster episode. 2.5 hours.
Can we quickly get a lock of the week in?
Lock of the week. Richmond.
What?
Fuck you.
Nah. To be honest, though, you better watch yourself. I'll tell you now, the way Richmond played against Port and the way the Pies played against the Hawks, that's a bloody close game.
No, I know.
If they both bring that same form. But genuinely speaking,
Giants over Melbourne.
Giants over Melbourne. That's going to be a great game.
Yep.
You know what? Terry's been on us all year. I'm going to go the Sainers to ruin the Bombers season. Bring it on, baby. Bring it on. I want to be here next week. We're in those sunnies and the bloody the jacket zipped to the brim. I'm ready to go. Bombers, you're out of the 8 this time next week. That's my lock.
That's fascinating because now, Jake, I've been a big Saints man all year.
You're off. You're off.
My lock of the week is the Bombers.
Bombers?
Yeah, everyone's talking about last week. Everyone's saying, it's classic Essendon. And I think they're going to learn. They've been in the situation. They've muffed it too many years to not learn. I think they'll beat the Saints this week.
Well, you locked Collingwood last week, so we know how much your lock means. So that's fine by me. Yeah. In fact, we're favourites now, thanks to Terry's lock.
I'm still on the Saints, But I think this is a classic situation where the Bombers will win. I hope the Saints win and spoil the party. Trust me. But I do think that the Bombers will win. Yeah.
The Bombers have won, 2 of their last 5? One was to Collingwood by 12 and one was to West Coast by 30.
Fucking Bombers haven't done anything since beating us.
And
They played a
we've
grand
also
final
won.
and they fucking drop off.
We've also won 2 of our 5.
Yep.
1 against Sydney, 1 against West Coast.
Just quickly before we wrap up, I think Julia's just been trying to ask, what's the best time, Jake, if she can get to the game early enough to give a poster to someone? It's probably like an hour before, an hour or 2 before the bounce when gates open, maybe.
Yeah, where's the original question? I'm just scrolling.
Oh, wait, hang on. Before we end, Jake, who is your fave Saints player who has told you what an honor it is to have you as a number 1 fan? I think that's the last question.
Can you type the question again, Julia?
Yeah, can you grab that up on the screen? I'm just trying to catch up here.
Can't really see it. Hang on. This one?
Who's your favourite Saints player who has told you what an honour to have you as a number 1 fan and supports them? My favourite player, my favourite current player would be Rowan Marshall would be my favourite current player. And my favourite all time would be Lenny Hayes. So those would be my 2. Yeah, I think Lenny Hayes would be most Sainers though. It's not the most original answer, to be honest. But yeah, Marshall right now would be absolutely my favourite. Hence why I was pushing to get him into the All-Australian team as much as I was. Was there another question to that? Did you say, Swoop? Was there a...
No, I think that might have been it. I think
that was it? Okay.
Else.
Thanks for that, Julia. Sorry I didn't get to that sooner.
So, Saints, Bombers, and Luke, who was your lock?
Giants.
All right.
But you want the Saints to win, don't you, Terry?
I would love the Saints to win.
Of course you do, mate.
The Saints to win.
That's all I care about at the end of the day. As long as you want us to win, I don't care what your lock is.
Yeah, I want you to win, but I do think the Bombers, surely,
But you're not locking them because they're playing us. You're locking them because you can't believe that they could possibly choke this season again.
Yeah.
So you're throwing a dart in an empty dark room and hoping it lands. That's what you're doing right now.
No, I mean I think they've been in good form this year. They're a top 8 side this year so far, and I think that they've had a bit of a scare. They cooked it last week against Adelaide.
Hawthorn and Bulldogs supporters in particular are going to be barracking so hard for us because they're right on them. Essendon lose this, they could drop.
It's like a Jake Stringer, Kyle Langford 4 goals.
If Gold Coast, actually, if Hawthorn, Melbourne, and Dogs win, Essendon will be 11th by the end of next week.
There you go.
Wow,
I think they'll actually drop out of the 8 later than round 20, if that makes sense. I don't think.
So you don't think beating us will necessarily mean they're a lock for finals?
No.
Okay.
I still think they're heartbreak. I just think this is one of the few winnable games on there. I've looked at their run home. I'm like, surely they're going to beat the Saints. I actually think they've been solid. Not great, but I think they've been solid. They've beaten who they've needed to beat, and they've lost to the teams above them.
The Melbourne loss looks bad now when you think about it.
Yeah.
17 points to Melbourne, 45 to Geelong.
Well, look, let's just see how it plays out.
We'll see. It's going to be a ripper. Can't wait.
We'll see how it plays out.
It's going to be a good one. Yeah.
All right, lads, and everyone, thanks for being here. See you next week.
See you guys next week. Up the